Upsurge minor league playoffs once again. You know who we are. It's Orbital and Random Minion Caster on the mic. RMC, how you doing today?
Doing well, doing good. We're in our quarterfinals here, Orbital. That means top 8 teams left here, and we're getting a repeat customer tonight. It's Nightless Void facing off against 5 Amigos here. I wonder if they've got a secret menu.
I don't know, and totally it's Voidless Night. Not Nightless Void, it's not that. But let's go ahead and talk about some of the other teams that are currently in the quarterfinals that we will hear more about later in the week. Of course, we do have on the top side of the bracket Team Aquila, first seed, taking on Return of the Middle Sticks tonight. Glue Eaters versus Cal Blue. Esports at UCF versus Orbital, and then of course the 5 Amigos versus Nightless Void, and those are your quarterfinal matchups here, which I think is kind of crazy because that's actually only 3 out of the 4 first seeds, and Stevens Esports, the 4th first seed, was actually knocked out, which is Nightless Void's their division's first seed. So Nightless Void kind of playing for reputation here, and hoping to put on a good show for us here tonight.
Yeah, the loss, the cloud representatives here. They need to make sure they're good. You know what? I spoke to Nightless Void, and they were kind of telling me like they felt their loss to Steven Esports was somewhat unjustified. They feel like they were the stronger team. So it looks like the results are somewhat bearing them out. They did also tell me that they think the hardest team left is 5 Amigos. So if they win
Hmm.
it here, Nightless Voids think they can just sweep the rest of it.
And I mean that is granted as well because in the previous uh, Team Aquila and all that. But of course, if they can, that is a big boost. You knock out another first seed, you crush it. But 5 Amigos, they're not going to go down, sleeping at all. They're not going to take it on the chin and just let it go by. They're going to swing back. And I mean, this is a team that, of course, made it all the way through, which I'm very excited to see how they play.
Yeah, we've not managed to catch the 5 Amigos on stream so far. Very, very unfortunate. But from what I understand, I mean, as the name suggests, they're 5 friends, kind of play together. And honestly, they've been doing really, really well for the most part. I mean, they're first seed for a reason here. And if Nightless Voids are looking at them that highly, I'm very interested to see what they can show on the Rift as well.
Oh yeah, and it's always just that anticipation as well for a team that maybe you anticipate a bit too much and you overextend, or the disrespect might come out. And of course, anything can happen in a best of 3. And I personally am very excited for it. RMC though, I we gotta talk about the playoffs and the implications, right? Because as things are moving along, as you move through the standings, right, you face tougher and tougher opponents. Uh,
Mhm.
your opinion here between these two teams, of course, 5 Amigos first seed, Nightless Void coming in at the second. Do you, regardless of what they say, do you feel that there is a clear difference, or do you think they are fairly close in terms of standing, in terms of how they play, or any gleam into how you feel the series might go tonight?
I mean, on paper, these teams are fairly evenly matched. We're looking, D1, D2 average for both these teams. In terms of play style, though, I think that's where I'm expecting to see a little bit of a difference. We saw Nightless Void last week, and they are having some slight roster issues due to certain members ranking out. So Toy has to come in, and I believe we'll be replacing Tick this week, replaced Cuddle last week here, but Cuddle Snuffles is back. So I think Nightless Void might struggle a little bit with their cohesion, with how well their team gels together here. And that is something that's exploitable by 5 Amigos. Because, like I said, 5 Amigos, 5 friends in real life, they play together a lot. So I'm expecting really good coordination from them here, especially from their mid jungle duo, Bark Go Duck, their mid laner, as well as iCryptics, their jungler, and their bot laner, Stonewolf, who throughout the split has kind of put the team on his back and really carried them. Not to say that the rest of the team isn't pulling their weight. It's just that they funnel a lot of resources towards their AD carry Stonewolf.
I mean, when you got a silver dragon as your support, you would hope the wolf is able to come out on top in that bottom lane, right? Really being able to take over. And you are, it's very, very true when you point it out like that. You want to see coordinated team play, and that's also what sets apart a lot of these guys, right? Coordination. Everyone can have the skill, the micro mechanics, that lane dominance. But when you get into certain leagues and you try and put yourself you know, a massive cut above, you are hoping to be able to show your team coordination. You're able to pull off those 3 to 4 man dives, you know, maybe in the bot lane, maybe in the top side, right, with the rotation, or around the Baron, right? The Baron dance, the dragon dances that we might see. So a lot of that relies on the coordination. 5 Amigos, of course, first time on our stream here. Very excited to see what they can do. And like you said, the eyes drawn towards that bottom side. We are getting some information that we are having a few technical delays, so should be starting here shortly with the champion select for game number 1. So thank you so much for being so patient with us, of course, after those amazing, I want to say, Rainbow Six Siege matches. And hopefully tonight is just as spicy. So once again, thank you very much. We are going to go ahead and I think go to a very short break to ensure that we get the right information out to you. So please do not go anywhere. We'll be right back with the first match here between Nightless Void and 5 Amigos. And we are back. Thank you so much for staying with us here. We did have a few technical errors. So we are getting underway, and just a little bit of a heads up, Five Amigos will be losing their last two bans of this game number one, I should say here. So the first three will be in effect as we do get underway. Again, Five Amigos are on blue side. We do have Tristana banned away. Pretty standard mid ADC ban. Nightless Void, of course, going with that Varus ban and saying we don't want to deal with that kind of versatile ADC.
Yeah, and both these AD carries here, both Stonewolf as well as Wake OG play a lot of Varus right now. It is one of the premier ADCs, so because they're red side, Nightless Void, no, they don't have a shot at it. Now, Rumble Band coming out from Five Amigos as well, still a very strong champion, has fallen out of competitive meta a little bit here, but I think at this level of play, Rumble Jungle is still a very, very scary thing.
Yeah, it still has a lot of power in its back pocket with the Morgana ban as well, so double jungle bans. Coming out here, Nightless Void, of course, banning out the Thresh and the Udyr. So three top junglers, or as you stated, of course, the Rumble kind of fallen off as well as the Morgana. Still three junglers banned away. So that is going to be the Diana locked in here right away. We have seen jungle Diana's kind of wane on and off, kind of hit or miss. And blind picking, I mean, it's understandable. Still might be a bit rough.
And I think Diana is just a very, very strong jungler. If anything, I feel like she's underutilized, can pretty much carry a game by herself sometimes, especially later on. She scales amazingly well. Volibear coming out from Nightless Void here. It is technically a flex pick, can go top, can go jungle here, but I'm inclined to think it's more likely jungle at this point. Lulu being picked up as well, and Lulu to me signifies that we might start seeing hyper carry, something like a Vayne, Kog'Maw, or Jinx come out for Nightless Void.
Yeah, just a powerhouse in that bottom lane, and Five Amigos have to be ready for that, right? So they go ahead, rightful shadow ban with the Jinx pickup for themselves. They have to figure out what they want to pair with it. Of course, the OP Lulu is kind of off the table. Karma still utilized every so often, not exactly an optimal pick, but it is an okay one. We have seen the Braum sometimes come out, however, it's not amazing in terms of going up against a Lulu or a poke lane. We'll see what they opt for, though. 5 seconds left here in the ban phase, and they go ahead and hover and lock in the Leona, so Lulu might have a bad day.
Yeah, for all the lore that Diana and Leona are supposed to be enemies, they synergize disgustingly well here. So I'm okay with that pick. Not so much for the lane, just for everything else here. And of course, it is going to be that Lulu Kog'Maw insta-locked in by Nightless Void here.
Yeah, and I love it. You know, Kog'Maw has seen a rise in the ADC position, and, you know, with the shredding potential, it's surprising that he hasn't been picked up sooner, but, you know, the Jinx is still there. It's very, very meticulous, it feels like, and it's surprising to see it locked in against Leona, right? You're saying, okay, I'm confident enough that we can fight against the Leona Jinx very well, that the Kog'Maw is going to position very well, and that the Lulu will have the wild growth available. Going into the second ban phase, we do have Nightless Void going ahead and banning away that Victor, starting to target the mid lane a little bit. Once again, Five Amigos losing out on 2 bans here.
So no bans come out from Five Amigos. Otherwise, I would have suggested, you know, maybe like an Orianna ban, because that is something that we've seen a lot coming out of Sir Zipri. It's the Corki, it's the Orianna, but with a Kog'Maw composition, the more shields you can put, the more heal you can put, the better that composition is going to be, especially if you're running a dive comp with that Diana, with that Leona as well. Nightless Void going with a bit of a split here, 1 top and 1 mid in terms of bans. The Victor and the Set coming up.
Yeah, Set is I feel still more of a counter pick option, so maybe saying, hey, we are obviously going to pick up a top laner next and don't want to try anything there, so go ahead, just take it off the table. That is a great engage at points if you can get the showstopper off, right? If you get this amazing ultimate that kind of draws the entire team in. We are going to get the second Void ban here. As we go ahead, shift it over to Nightless Void. They will go ahead and try and figure out what they want to lock in here. So far, they've locked in at least a very strong backline with the Lulu Kog'Maw. If it gets to mid to late game with the Volibear initiation, now you need a little utility in there. And I mean, that's one way to do it. Locking in the Corki for that mid lane. Red Baron coming out to play.
Yeah, a little bit surprised it's not the Orianna, but then again, we saw Nightless Void, we saw Sir Zipri specifically with that Corki blind actually in game 3 last week, and it did carry them to victory here. Now, against a Diana jungle, depending on what mid they pick up here, if it's another diving assassinating mid, it is going to be a little rough on Corki here, but first they lock in what looks like going to be their top laner, Dr. Mundo, coming in for Strike Down.
Yeah, going to say, nope, we are going to take this beefy tanker in the top lane. And like you were talking about, that Orianna coming out, it was passed up
Yeah.
for by Nightless Void. So Five Amigos go ahead, lock it in, and now they have a fairly large wombo combo situation set up. The Diana, the Leona, and the Orianna going to be making a large, you know, decimation if they can lock onto the backline. The Gnar going to come out being hovered. Once again, the skill check champion going to be the counter to Mundo.
Yeah, and it's also Cuddle Snuffle's most played champion this split here. I think it's a great pickup to work into the Dr. Mundo. Gives you that tank ability as well when you go Mega. Fits the composition very well. And when I'm looking at what these teams have drafted, Nightless Void, they basically are a sort of... The more you draft the Lulu Kog'Maw, you know that that's going to be a key piece of their composition. So they obviously want to protect the back line. And they've got great poke as well. Corki and Kog'Maw both poke really well. Really beefy front line. They want to play front to back, or they just basically want to keep their back line alive as long as possible. Whereas when I look at Five Amigos, they have a fairly like diving style composition with Diana, with the Leona, and with Dr. Mundo here. But they've also got a pretty decent backline of their own. Orianna, Jinx. Is it going to be able to outfight a Kog'Maw, Corki in an extended fight? Certainly not here. So I feel like pressure's on Five Amigos in these team fights to be able to find and access that backline.
Finding access or just, you know, attempt to go front to back, which is going to be the hardest of them all. I think previously we have seen a Corki just pop off before. Might have actually been Nightless Void themselves, where it was a quadra kill, I think, and that is a highlight play if you ever get to go back and see it. So on that signature champion, on that powerhouse that we might get to see. And of course, you do see a little bit of a swapperoo on the bands. That doesn't really change anything. Of course, they're very sorry, taking a look at something else, but looking at the lanes overall, I want to get your opinion where you feel a lot of the jungle attention will be played, as this is, again, the Volibear and Diana. We talked about how Diana can pull some ganks off, but at the same time, you know, might need a bit of farm under her belt before she can really make an impact.
Yeah, I think the top side is kind of where I'm going to pay the least amount of attention. Nar should have a fairly fun time up there against Dr. Mundo. But if Dr. Mundo plays it carefully, not a ton of kill pressure. Mid lane, Corki Orianna does usually tend to be more of a bit of farm fest till 6. Without jungle intervention, not a lot of action. But at the same time, at 6, with Diana, with Orianna there, if you do ever catch that Corki, and you can time the moonfall, right? You can't actually Valkyrie away from that moonfall. It will drag you back in there. So post 6, I'll be looking there. But early game, bot lane. Jinx Leona isn't exactly a kill lane, but Kog'Maw, Lulu, I mean, if they do poke you down, they can chase you down there. Same thing with Jinx Leona. Yeah, they're not really a kill lane, but if you do stun into chompers, you can pop out a lot of damage. And both Lulu and Kog'Maw are kind of squishy here. So I'm kind of looking at bot side early, and the lanes aren't too uneven. I'd say lane slightly more to Nightless Void here, depending on how the jungle attention goes.
Yeah, depending on where they go or where they don't go, if you will. And if they are left unchecked, some of these can be out of control, to say the least. And of course, that also goes and ties into, obviously, the Dragon, the Rift Herald, you know, pressure that will be coming out. Do you see one team deciding that, hey, we want to go directly for say the global objectives and maybe leave the towers alone? Or do you think all of them are going to be scrapping back and forth? You know, obviously if an Infernal comes out first, we're probably going to see some fighting between the two, but you know, there is that opportunity where, hey, we give the dragons and then just go straight for the towers, right?
Yeah, I don't know. In the UML, generally the turrets seem to be a secondary concern for the most part. It's almost always about the major objectives, the kills here. I will say though, I think first Drake should go in favor of Five Amigos as long as they set up right. Jinx, Leona combined with that Diana pre-6 and that Orianna, I think are a bit of a better matchup versus, you know, the Lulu, Kog'Maw, Corki, and Volibear combination there. So I expect to see Five Amigos try and get that early Drake. But once you hit 6, everything kind of changes there. And we kind of touched on that before. Nightless Void, they've got a bit more margin of error in the team fights because it's on Five Amigos to look for that engage there. As long as they don't get sort of the perfect engage, they don't delete the Kog'Maw and the Corki right off the bat, then Nightless Void will probably be able to win the extended engages a little bit there. So I do think just in general, I'm looking at Five Amigos to be the proactive one here.
Yeah, and you know, that is what we need to see. We need to see them be proactive. Again, this is a first C team that you are going against, a 5-0 squad that crushed the regular season. They crushed their matchup back in the round of 16, and now you have to beat them and try and make your way into the semifinals. So we'll see if they can do that, of course. However, Five Amigos definitely not going to go down without a fight. They've drafted a composition for themselves that hopefully will be able to contain the first game and push themselves into that 1-0 position. So we will go ahead, throw it to a very short break to ensure a quality broadcast for yourself. Make sure there are no pauses or anything of the sort. So please do not go anywhere. We will be right back with game number 1 between 5 Amigos and Nightless Void. And we are back with game number 1 here on the Rift after a few technical difficulties, of course, back earlier. We are here, we are ready to go, and we are ready to watch these two teams that clash for a chance to move on to the semifinals. On the blue side, we do have 5 Amigos, and on the red, Nightless Void. So let's run down the players that have graced the Rift today. On 5 Amigos side, we do have Strike Down on the top lane, iCryptix in the jungle, Bark Duck in the mid lane, Stonewolf at ADC, and a Silver Dragon at support.
And on the red side, it's Nightless Void. You saw them last week. You'll see them again this week. But it's Cuddle Snuffles back in the top lane here. Drops in the jungle. Sir Zepri in the mid lane. Wake OG on the ADC position. And Toy, previously their top laner, but their substitute now in support, coming in as their support.
Yeah, the most flexible of supports, I must say, considering top end support have the 2 most drastically different roles I think I've ever seen out of roles. Because usually you see, you know, your primary, secondary would be like top jungle, and then for some reason it's ADC and support, and then mid ADC is the ones that I normally see. Support is on its own like island, right? But to be able to play top end support as a sub, I think shows a lot of strength and flexibility.
Does it, or does it just show that Wake OG makes you feel like you're playing on an island? I'm kidding. I'm sure that's not true. And for sure, this game at least here, Lulu Kog'Maw, you can't be playing on an island right now. Kog'Maw does rely very heavily on their support to play the game right. If a Kog'Maw does not trust your support, then the Kog'Maw really struggles very, very hard to get maximal amounts of damage out.
Yep. Waiting to see. As we do see the first tags, and of course the junglers starting on opposite sides, going for the red buffs first. We do see a very deep ward though over by the Raptors of iCryptix. So going to be able to spot out and understand that currently it's pretty much an even match. However, Drops did skip over the, I believe it's the Krugs over there. So going to be clearing over to the blue a little bit quicker.
Yeah, and we're actually seeing iCryptix skipping the Raptors a little bit here. That's not something I'm particularly familiar with. I mean, skipping Krugs is pretty normal. Skipping Gromp is pretty normal. Skipping Raptors, perhaps less so. Did walk over that ward anyways, so a bit of a rush towards that top side. I do want to see some vision coming down from Cuddle Snuffles to make sure that he does not get ganked early.
Yep, just to play it a bit safe. Of course, we do see the bot lane for 5 Amigos pushing in pretty heavily, and this is a little bit dangerous territory, I would say, right? When you know that the enemy jungler most likely started on that side. At least hopefully iCryptix is, you know, kind of keeping track of that. But Sir Zepri eating a lot of damage in that mid lane. Not liking where it's going.
Look at that rotation. They shoved that wave. They're coming out here. So Zepri does not know. They did not spot this.
And they got it. They got Suffolk's blood. Silver Dragon sneaking in from the river. Allows his team to pick up a little early goal, but Stonewolf is now going to feel the pain of the regang. Tries to flash out, and the slow is there. Heal has already been used. Nope, not used yet. One more auto attack is used. Blast forward. Wake OG is going to eat so much damage. Takes 2 tower shots. That's all it is. Trade of 1-for-1 and summoners.
I don't know if that was worth it, Orbital. I would have liked to see, you know, Drops or Toys try and tank that up a little bit better for Wake there. Ultimately, they both go down. That will be a whole bunch of CS loss, and the supports are the ones who get to pick that up. iCryptix.
Sir Zepri actually has to Valkyrie away. The Q wasn't landed, so the reset isn't there, but Sir Zepri pushing up hard and then being forced to Valkyrie away. That's just not a good look at the current moment.
No, and you know what? I like the idea there that you gank Sir Zepri over and over again. The TP was burnt for Sir Zepri to get back into lane. So if you can force a kill or force another back here, that will be a significant advantage. And for the mid laners, experience is absolutely paramount here. If you can find a level lead, you can often dominate much of the laning phase.
Yeah, and that's all it takes. And honestly, half a wave is all you really need, right? Cuddles actually unfortunately misses a boomerang, but half a level is all you really need. And a huge thing in any solo lane experience, right, is knowing how many minions it takes exactly to kind of hit that power spike, right? Once you wait and watch Bark go duck, hit that level 6, you know you have to back up, and sometimes they will try and snap out that ultimate as quickly as possible. So, you know, the level difference is going to be a big thing. I think Bark go duck does have a very slight level advantage because he did TP directly in the middle of the wave there, so we'll see if he's able to take control once again.
Yeah, it is a very, very slight advantage, but it is there right now. And I wouldn't be surprised to see iCryptix looking over and over again for those ganks. But for now, Barco Duck actually, when recall, did not buy anything.
Yeah, I just noticed that.
Yeah, because he's running out of mana way too early. And forget everything we said about the sliders of leads. It's gone. Barco Duck recall here just loses everything.
That's sad. That is the most unfortunate scenario. And not only that, a dragon starting up. Cryptic's actually going very, very low. Gets a shield up and is getting a little bit of help from the Leona. So they should be able to pick this one up on top of that Rift Scuttle. So first dragon, Ocean. Most importantly, going the way of 5 Amigos with an Infernal starting to respawn.
They're so lucky that they didn't really realize how low iCryptix was. I think if even Toy had poked their head in at that point, iCryptix probably would have had to smite early and abandon the dragon. But that is first Drake. It is Ocean Drake as well. And with the team, with Dr. Mundo in the top lane, that's going to feel really nice in that lonely island up top.
It doesn't even matter what soul is coming up. If you get both Ocean and Infernal, you're like ecstatic, right? You're sitting there, you got the opening hand in a poker table. You're just like, this is awesome. This is all I need. I don't care what else comes about. That's all that we care about as drops waiting off on the edge. Was going to blast going over, but of course the pull back from Stonewolf and Silver Dragon. We'll go ahead and say no. They stayed around though, but maybe hoping to pick up an extra wave.
Yeah, and I want to point out that there is a CS discrepancy developing in this bot lane, significantly in favor of Stonewolf right now. And that is very good for the 5 Amigos because, as we talked about in the pregame, Stonewolf often is the main carry where they give a lot of resources to this bot lane. So getting that Jinx online is great here, especially against a Kog'Maw Lulu. Kog'Maw Lulu really, really scary, but if the Jinx is ahead of you, then in those team fights, suddenly the pressure becomes on Nightless Void to be able to dive that backline to find their way in. With a Corki, with a Kog'Maw, that's not going to be something, that's not going to be an easy task at all here.
With a Kog'Maw, with a Corki, but eyes were drawn towards the top side. iCryptix actually stole away the red and is now stealing away Raptors as well. So a little bit of a cheeky invade. If he's able to pull away with this pretty much scot-free, he should have a 3 buff, although it doesn't matter as much later. That's still nice to get on someone like a Volibear. Against a Volibear, you know, maybe take away a little bit of his gold income.
And I would argue that it is still very, very significant right now because if Drops doesn't have anything to farm, Drops has to either look for ganks or look, you know, to invade the other side. And with the way the lanes have been going right now, if 5 Amigos have to collapse backwards, they will always get there first. They will get prio, and that means that Drops has to be very careful not to get spotted, or else he's dead.
And you can see the rotate in, so that's actually going to be Cuddle, helping out his jungler to take away the blue buff. And that is actually only the first buff. So actually the blue buff before didn't get picked up. So now it is a potential 3 buff situation. If iCryptix is able to make it over, the pink ward does go down. Toy is able to spot out the enemy jungler. So they know to be a little bit careful, but that does mean Rift Herald will go the way of Nightless Void as they go ahead and pick it up.
Yeah, that's going to be real nice for them right now. I mean, Nightless Void feels like they're a little bit on the back foot in the early game, but we kind of expected this here, especially on that first Drake. So for them to be able to find Herald and maybe even find Strike down? Okay. They just completely backed off. Didn't even try and poke. Interesting. But yeah, they do get Herald. We'll have to see where they opt to drop it right now. All the turrets are very, very healthy. And the only one that's really experienced any pressure whatsoever is that top one by Cuddle Snuffles on this Gnar.
Yeah, it's been very quiet despite hitting the level 6s, right? These are a lot of compositions that we felt would explode once they hit those moments. And it just seems that they're content kind of farming it out. Both of them saying, hey, we both have really good mid to late games and we assume that we're going to do much better than you, right? It's just kind of complete disregard towards the early game as we do see the rotate over. It looks like Drops has committed towards this bot side. Hoping to get a couple more plates, and they are going to drop it early. I'm not sure if that's actually the way they want to play it. They are going to get quite a few plates. Wave is cleared prematurely. So Dragon is going to go ahead and go in. They are going to try and run it, but the ultimate comes down. Thunderlord is going to be able to tower and get the kill. So Silver Dragon will pay, but the tower is going to stay alive. Nightless Void forces this bottom side tower.
Yeah, and they will be able to pick up this turret right here. The Herald wasn't so much used to just get the plates. It's also just the pressure off Stonewolf and Silver Dragon. And the fact that they didn't back off at that point, you've got to respect that level 6. That Stormbringer from Drops here. Yes, Leona is a tank support, but early on, you're squishy. What defensive items do you have? You've got the Targon's Buckler and a Ruby Crystal. And I'm not even sure the Ruby Crystal was there when that dive went down. Top side, though, a gank being set up onto Cuddle Snuffles here.
Yep, gank is up, but he easily walks out, was able to take a 50-50 chance. They are going to draw it in. Cuddle Snuffles
Mega.
over the wall is going to pop up into Mega quite possibly, and that calls it off. That is going to be a double ultimates used on the top side, so will not be available for the upcoming Drake.
Strike down and iCryptic's not looking 100% on the same page there. Unfortunately, the gank doesn't pan out, and because iCryptic showed top, Nightless Void know that, hey, Dragon's up and available. No jungler nearby. Package on Corki. We've got all the setup we need.
Yep. They'll go ahead, pick up the second Dragon of the game pretty much on 11 minutes. And it is going to be the Cloud Dragon that will be battled over. Everyone going to be moving really quick and have ultimates up a lot faster than normal.
Ooh, I am scared here, Orbital, because Cloud Soul normally doesn't sound too scary for the most part, but in a composition that wants to run you down, something like a Juggernaut comp here, it becomes extremely scary, because if Kog'Maw starts killing people, if they start running you down, the Living Artillery has such a short cooldown that anytime Wake just needs that extra burst of speed, you just fire the artillery and you can keep running, keep chasing, keep firing, and basically for 5 Amigos, they have to make sure that they are on the winning end of these fights.
Yep. Gotta make sure they are, and I mean, it's all going to be down to also ultimate exchanges, right? Like, which ones are you willing to burn? Which ones are you willing to give up in terms of how you're going to play? Now, the top lane, once again, is going to be the call. Cuddle Snuffles, though, in Mega is simply going to narm away. I mean, that is just, I feel, the simplest getaway we've seen Cuddles make so far.
And I want to point out, Cryptix didn't have Moonfall available. The Diana ult wasn't there, so it felt like a very forced move there. And if anything, you need Strike Down to be the one initiating that. As it is, Cuddle Snuffles right now is absorbing so much pressure. And look what's happening on the map. Nightless Void is starting to collapse in here, and 5 Amigos have no clue.
Oh, well, they are going to spot out Toy roaming up, and now they get the call. Satan goes in, draws into. They're going to try and follow through. The multi-stun is there, but Cryptix has to run away because the ADC. Wake OG shreds through them all, and the Kog'Maw will go ahead and get a double kill. 4-1-0. The ADC of Nightless Void is coming away with a massive boon.
Oh, and the efficiency right there. So Zipri goes bot. They don't even lose the mid wave. Barco Duck tries to shove it. Wake is there to pick it up. Nightless Void execute that perfectly across the board right now. And they're pulling ahead to quite a significant lead right now. Orbital, when I spoke to 5 Amigos, they said they had no fear of this Corki. They were, in fact, very confident that we'll give up that Corki here. We'll let Sir Zipri pick it. It doesn't really look, though, like they had the right answer in mind. This Orianna is not it.
Yeah, Orianna's not it because you can't get to Wake OG. It's having a few complications, and now very strong. Toy goes ahead, eats a zap, and the Zenith Blade. That felt like a very risky dive if Toy was actually going to get cut. Does not, though, so Strike Wolf, or Stone Wolf and Silver Dragon will go ahead and try and get a few plates.
Yeah, I don't know if they really feel comfortable. The vision right now is not great. For the side of 5 Amigos here. They do have vision top side. Now bot side vision just came down. But before this, they couldn't actually see what was coming from the bot side. And with so many members off the map right now, they couldn't know if Drops was going to set up a gank from the bot side. Now they do have vision. It's too late. Wake is there. Minions are pushing in. And while Toy will struggle to hold that 1v2, Wake will not.
Wake is going to be perfectly happy here in the mid. Sir Zipri is now going to be challenged by Barco Duck. Another Rift Herald should be up in the next, I want to say, about 20 to 25 seconds. And, you know, that one can also help break open the rest of the base, right? You have so many options for both teams here. And since it's such an early one as well, any kills that you get can immediately turn into a tower or two. Dragon, though, pretty far away, minute and a half before that one will come up.
And I put the pressure on 5 Amigos to pick up this second Drake, because Nightless Void, they're happy skilling. They're the ones with the double ADC composition, with the Kog'Maw, with the Corki here, with the Lulu. So yes, a Jinx is scary, but not quite as scary as that Corki and Kog'Maw here. Oh, can a fight in topside? iCryptic is going to be late on this one.
Yeah, gonna be very late, but the Gnar again, just using it on cooldown, no cost to it. And that's gonna call the startup of this Rift Herald. 4 members, actually make that 5 as Stonewolf is kind of floating between the Herald and the mid. It's gonna be mid tower trying to be shredded down. Silver Dragon is gonna eat the Thunder. Actually not gonna happen, and teleport used very early on the bottom lane tower.
Well, Nightless Void, if you send one person down, we can send multiple members. Toy and Drops looking for a dive here.
Oh, Barco Duck is about to feel the wrath. Shockwave only lands on one. And that's just an easy kill. Silver Dragon wanted to follow up, but Toy now going to be the sacrificial lane. iCryptix is going to try and go on the mid on your mini map. You see that? And that's actually killing mid. Toy is going to pull so much aggro, takes so long to kill. But once again, iCryptix, we didn't get to see it. Wake OG picks up a solo kill in the mid lane.
I mean, what is there to see here? iCryptix versus Diana versus a Kog'Maw here. It's just a gold difference at this point because Wake did have that Kraken Slayer. iCryptix did not complete the Night Harvester at this point and just free fired, won the 1v1. That's a very cursed position to be in when your assassin, when your backline diver cannot kill the enemy ADC 1v1.
Yeah, and this is why I will always have grievances about a lot of these AP mid lane or AP junglers, right? They provide so much power, but require a very specific set of situations and requirements, right? These are situations where you need your mid lane, you need your top lane, and that's going to be Strike Down trying to heal up. But again, that is the Bramble Vest taking away with the Grievous Wounds, forcing the flash out of both. That's going to be Waco G pulling the cleanse, and that's going to be a root. They found the Kog'Maw. Shockwave only lands on one, but they bring the flash out of Waco G as well. Can they follow up? That's the 2 kills. They got a stun out of the ZP as well. Drops is going to try and come in, help his team, and the massive jump in. Drops is going to jump down on Stone Wolf. The Wolf has been caught. Cuddle Stuffles tried to jump on it, but at the massive Q grip, turning on health are so low. On the side of Nightless Void, they are run out of the mid lane, dancing all around a lot of iffy situations, and it looks like 5 Amigos will come out at least with the health advantage. One more Q might land. Oh, that was very, very close. Sir Zephyr is going to try and walk away. The orb is going to come down to shield Cryptix a bit, and the mid lane tower will fall.
Yeah, if they escorted Shelly and if they just helped a little bit more, Shelly could get a second charge off. Because frankly, Sir Zephyr, Cuddle, Snuffles, and Drops were all living on a hope and prayer right there. They were all so low. And 5 Amigos turned that fight beautifully. The CC control, the discipline, the way they layered it was huge. Because Wake OG only has 1 cleanse right now, and Leona's got a ton of CC. The Shockwave as well coming up from Barco Duck, making all the difference in that last fight.
Not just that, I want to talk a little bit about like a little rough choice. Cuddle Snuffles teleported in.
Yeah.
4 HP. For anyone that plays Gnar, and I say this with all the love of my heart, if you are below 50% HP and you are in mini Gnar, even if you had TP up, it is a bait. Do not try that. Even if your team spam pings you, you will have a bad time. Going back to the game though, he is still 0-0-1, 36 CS up above his lane opponent, so you can really see the differences, especially in the 1v1 between these two, right? Strike Down pretty much always on the defensive.
Yeah, and we've seen that pretty much in every one of the lanes right now. So Zephyr always seeming to get the better end of the trades against Barco Duck here. The range from Orianna just not letting Barco Duck trade against this Corki. Bot side, Wake OG. I mean, that CS discrepancy has flipped, but it's 5-2 and 1 Kog'Maw. So that's still not a lane that goes well for the side of 5 Amigos. So I want to see them group up here and play to their strengths. So Zephyr.
Oh my gosh. They're doing it again. The flash and the catch and the shockwave to seal it off. They really wanted Sir Zephyr dead.
Yeah, the 2 ultimates blown there. The flash as well coming out from iCryptix to
personal.
try and yeah, I don't know if that's worth it because now your next fight, you're not going to have that flash. And we've seen iCryptix struggle a little bit to get into that back line to find the right engages for that Lunar Rush. So without that flash, that is a tool down. The good news for them is no major objectives there. The next one's going to be Dragon in about 1 minute 50 seconds. So despite not having that flash up and available for that there, they do have plenty of time to set up, and it probably won't be missed in the short term.
Yeah, not only that, iCryptix finally was able to pick up a stopwatch. So having that kind of all-in safety guarantee will be nice. Allows him to really set up the play, right? That's going to be Drops getting caught a little bit, though. Has to burn that Stormbringer just to stay alive. That is a huge initiation tool that Nightless Void will not have.
Roughly 10 seconds after Dragon spawns, that ult will be up and available. Cuddle Snuffles buying a lot of time here. And for the side of 5 Amigos, why are you spending so much time down here? A minute before Dragon spawns, there's no scuttle. There's really nothing to contest. And they've just given up that low health mid turret to Serzipri here, who doesn't even have TP, but there's no worry about needing that TP. There's nothing bot side they need to look at.
Yeah, just gonna keep pushing, keep farming up. He is now on his way to having a massive CS lead as well. I think he's sitting on about 28 CS above his lane opponent, above the Oriana. So, you know, you can see that that is really what's keeping this gold lead so close, right? 1.6k is all that separates the two, even with a tower difference. That minor difference might be all it takes, though, right? We see a 5-man group now coming in from 5 Amigos. They're trying to set up very, very early for this. I think they did see Gnar going to Mega, so they have to realize that is a dangerous potential.
TP coming from Serzipri here. They're kind of looking for the pincer, and normally I think that's a bad call, but depending on how Wake and Toy position, that's fine. If Drops is the one tanking from that flank, you're good to go.
Remember, it was Serzipri with the package that made the ultimate play to get them here into the quarterfinals. If he wants to do it again, that will be huge. Dragon started up. Drops is inside of the pit here. Looking a little bit dangerous. Cuddle Snuffles trying to buy a little bit of time. He is still mini Gnar. Stonewolf actually rotating all the way around. I don't know if that's what they want to do. Cryptic gets sniped down. Living on is going to make it work. Cuddle Snuffles is going to get a double set, and they're going to follow through. This is just the collapse onto 5 Amigos. 5 Amigos are all dead, as that is a team wipe with the triple kill from Serzipri to add an accent to the ace.
That was a disaster and a half here, Orbital. From a macro point of view, when you lose your jungle like that, why are you sticking around? iCryptix is your primary, secondary engagement, your primary means of threatening the back line. If Diana is down, you can't fight this. I'll give you credit, though. At least you are 5 good friends. You didn't leave anybody behind. All of you died together.
You know, it's the thought that counts, right? You live together, you die together. And at this point, dying together did mean that now there is a massive lead. Soul point for Nightless, where they get Baron on, I believe, 4 members. I think if I count correctly, but that's more than enough to start storming and breaking down these kind of extra remaining towers that are just kind of free gold at this point.
Well, they got Baron on all 5 members here. Everybody was up and alive, so yeah, they're just going to be able to siege in right now. And for 5 Amigos here, we did not see the initiation that we needed to see here. With Silver Dragon, iCryptix going in, Sun and Moon together, finding that backline. We've not seen it at all. Now they're down 6k into the hole. Can they still find it? Maybe. If they do, they can still come back. Stonewolf has that Runance and that Kraken Slayer here. If Serzipri and Wake are not outputting the damage, and Jinx is, they can still win that fight.
You know, I saw something in that last fight that kind of made me scratch my head, right? We saw Stonewolf kind of rotate around the Dragon Pit looking for a pinch potential and maybe a steal. I like the thought, but that I feel that should have been Cryptix, right? Cryptix is the jungler, right? Cryptix has that jump in. Cryptix is also like the squishiest member on their side. I understand the health is there, but you saw how quickly Cryptix was shredded. This Diana doesn't really have any extra armor, and even if the armor is there, right, Wake OG is just going to shred it all the way down. So really rough choice there. Drops is going to Stonewolf and a Leona. They're going to try and fight it out, get stunned up quite a bit. Cryptix is ready to go, but he's going to finish off this red buff. Silver Dragon is going very low. Cuddle Snuffle stuns up and is going to save his team. So rough choice. Wake OG. Oh. It's the Super Mega Death Dragon, drop down to 100 HP.
If iCryptix had looked at the fight instead of the red buff, Wake goes down right there. Literally, 1 Lunar Rush is all it takes. And the stopwatch is still available as well. So even if iCryptix goes in, it's not guaranteed death. You've got Flash, you've got Moonfall, you've got a lot of tools here. They do, however, not lose anybody on that engage, and that is a small win in and of itself. The problem is, doesn't mean anything. Cuddles bringing in a burned up minion wave right now to the bot side here, and he's just able to pressure out.
Yeah, that boomerang is really starting to get hurt. You could see it took about, I want to say like 100 to 150 HP off of Stonewolf, and that is not fun when it's only an 0-0 and 6, right? No real kills on this Gnar, just a bunch of health and a bunch of extra damage. He's going to simply tank up the tower. Oh, turns into mini Gnar just as he got the demolish off. So majorly reduced damage.
I just like the fact that there was a ward in the bush, and I know it was off camera, but Cuddle actually sat on that ward for a solid 3 seconds, making sure no one was there. You do get the terror, though. You do get the pressure. And for the side of 5 Amigos, if they're not grouped, they can't fight this. They need the Oriana, Diana, Jinx damage all together here. The only person you can kind of let split push on their own, try and clear out the waves, is Strike Down.
At this point, Strikedown is doing his best, about to hit 200 CS, does have a few extra items, the Sunfire Aegis plus the Spirit Visage, but doesn't have a Bramble Vest, right? That's what you're looking for. Shockwave only lands on one, and that's Sir Zepri. Gonna try and follow it up. The chase is on. They did pull a teleport. That is gonna be the Solar Flare only landing and slowing. They're gonna try and change it up, but this is a jump right back in. Nightless Void are going to cleanse out this fight. In goes Cuddle Snuffles. He is gonna go ahead, draw the help of his mid laner. They're gonna turn this fight on its head. Easy kills by the Rockets. Look at the damage. Wolf is going to the moon and is going to get exploded on. Wake OG is gonna take down his rival ADC, and Barco Duck is the only one remaining. A 4-2 team fight going in favor of Nightless Void.
It was a nice try. It was a good attempt from 5 Amigos there. The flank was good. The problem is that they're just so far ahead. If you don't fight them on the turret, if you don't instantly burn Sir Zepri and Wake, it doesn't work. And let's make no mistake here. Wake did go down, but that was because Wake's just went to the front, tried to juggle more. When Wild Growth was down, Toy already used that previously, didn't have the shield up and available. And so that's the only reason why Wake did end up going down there. Props to Wake, though. Did use that passive really well.
Yeah, did use it really well, but Stone Wolf is starting, we start seeing it, has a lot of damage in that back pocket. Finally finished. The Lord Dominic's Regard is going for, I think, that is going to be an Infinity Edge next, but that is the Soul going into the pockets of Nightless Void. They're going to be running around the map that much quicker. I don't think anyone is going to catch this squad. I mean, Wake OG is going to be very happy about that too, because he is also sitting on, I believe, 3 items completed. Kraken Slayer, Wit's End, as well as the Runin's Hurricane. He is truly becoming the evil turret that no one likes.
And not just an evil turret, a very mobile turret here. I mean, Wit's End granting you more movement speed. Cloud Soul, more movement speed here. Did they find Strike Down?
Strike Down is getting beaten down here, trying to use that Sadism to stay alive a bit longer. They're just going to dance it, but this is actually giving a lot of time over to the side of 5 Amigos. They're pushing down mid lane with 4. The time wasted is actually going to lose them a tower. They will go ahead and take that one. Will they push for more? I don't think so. Baron is coming up in just a few seconds. So 5 Amigos are down to 4, and it looks like they're going to have to give the second one over as well.
Okay, you know what? I like what 5 Amigos did there. It doesn't really mean anything though. Baron is spawning in 10 seconds. You shove out the mid lane. Great. Well, good. Are you able to continue pushing though? No. And if you take too long and the rest of 5 Amigos, the rest of Nightless Void, pardon me, flank you from behind, that is a 5v4 when you're already down in gold. Let's remember right now on this patch, Jinx out has been nerfed. The Rocket does not out damage Smite right now. And if Nightless Void pick up this Baron, it's game over.
Oh, they're going to try for the seal. That is going to be a Rocket going in, and it is taken. Drops, picks it up, and like you said, that's pretty much the final nail in the coffin, unless Nightless Void just kind of step into enemy territory for no reason. It feels like they should close this game out nice and simple. I mean, they're sitting at a 10k lead with the Soul in their hand. No Elder Dragon, of course. That would be the ultimate setup to crush a base, but, it's pretty dang close.
They'll be trolling if we go to Elder Drake right now. I mean, they've got more than enough time to finish this off. Look at how little defense they can muster. The turret's down.
Yeah, and Cuddles stones are right back. Get the double stun on 2 primary targets. That's going to be the Jinx is dead. Shockwave only lands on 2, and they're just going to dive it all the way through. They do not care about the towers. Flash in. Wake OG is going to try and hit a few people, but it is not going to find it. Is going to die in the tower. That doesn't matter. Again, 4 for 2 is all that's necessary. Barco Duck can only watch helplessly from the fountain as Nightless Void go ahead and take game number 1.
They take it in clean fashion as well here, Orbital. Props to them. They just felt like they had the better lanes across the board, and they kind of I don't know what to say about that, right? Like their lanes aren't necessarily the better matchup. They just played them better, and then when it just came time to team fight, they already had the gold in their advantage. And I think a lot of that does come down to the 2 lost bans coming up from 5 Amigos here.
Mm.
They weren't able to punish the solo lanes at all. And I do think you need to punish that Corki. You need to ban that Corki from Sir Zipri, because this didn't look like you had a great answer to it. The Corki was picked first before your solo laners were picked. So Oriana, that ain't it.
Yeah, Oriana is not the answer that you are going for. And also, we have to talk about the score lines, right? Strike down 0-4-2 in a matchup that we knew was going to lose, but still very, very rough. And then iCryptics 0-5-2. Few moments where we really had to question if this was the right move, if his positioning was correct. Maybe needs a champion that can be a little bit more flexible and a little bit more forgiving in terms of what goes on.
I mean, that Diana match, like, Diana's a great ganker. It really just felt like iCryptics was struggling to get it off. I don't know if they're unfamiliar with the champion, perhaps, or
Mhm.
what the deal is right now. But you know what? If you're struggling this much, then maybe it's not the Diana pick. Go for something else. They were blue side this game here, and they were the ones who opted to ban out 2 junglers. Going to next game, I believe we'll be seeing a side swap potentially. So if that's the case there, I need to see what Amigos, the 5 Amigos, have in terms of their drafting. What counters can they pull out? You can't afford to lose all your lanes like that. Pick at least one lane that has a clear strength and should be able to flat out win it, and then maybe play through that lane.
All right, well, there you go. Some optimizations that might be made here for 5 Amigos if they want to keep their spot in the UML playoffs. Of course, we will go to a very short break, give the teams times a little bit to rest, and we'll make sure that they are prepped and ready for game number 2. Don't go anywhere. And we are back, ready and willing to get this game number 2 on the road. Nightless Void, the underdogs here, really are coming back after a pretty dominant game number 1 with the Corki once again, as well as a Kog'Maw. 5 Amigos have got to find some answers.
Yeah, and it just looked like Nightless Void was playing better across the board. And it surprises me a little bit because coming to the game, we were talking about how I thought 5 Amigos' strength would be their cohesion as a team, their ability to play together and coordinate together here. We really didn't see it in game one. They looked very, very spread out. I don't think we saw a single Silver Dragon, Cryptix engage into the backline with that Leona Diana at all here. Stone Wolf was playing out of his mind on that Jinx there with basically no support, having to find ways to try and get back to the game. And Barco Duck got some amazing shockwaves, but the follow up just wasn't there.
No, and I mean, I feel like I will personally attribute it to how quiet the early game was. Right, with the Diana, you kind of need to make some plays, maybe show a little bit. Same with the Volibear, right? It just stalled out for too long, so it all hinged on one fight. It kind of felt like, but at the same time, of course, the Corki got to deal with it. At this point, though, 5 Amigos still on the blue side. They did opt to stay on that blue side this time around. They will have all 5 bans, so this might
Mhm.
help them mitigate a little bit of the damage that happened. Maybe ban away that Corki that was so prevalent in game number 1.
Yeah, and the thing is that you might actually have to ban that Corki phase one because we've seen that Sir Zipri will play it blind if he has to. And I think it was last week game three where Sir Zipri actually just picked Corki on R3. So that is something that has to be weighing on the minds of 5 Amigos as well. Do you ban that in your first round of bans? And if you do, what do you leave open? Because they banned Tristana, Rumble, Morgana here. Um, all three, I think, were really, really solid bans. And if you don't ban that Tristana. Serzipri plays that Tristana as well. It fits almost perfectly in the same role, same vein as that Corki, except it's AD potentially. And if you let through Rumble, you let through Morgana, there's no reason why drops shouldn't pick them up.
Yeah, just gonna leave it open. Why not pick up a power pick that is currently available, and really just run with it, right? I personally will always love seeing some Rumble play if it's good, right? Seeing the equalizers come down,
Mhm.
create just a massive amount of chaos. The amount of times that I've seen people go, "Oh yeah, there's a carpet underneath me that kind of hurts," is always interesting. Oh, I died to a little burn. Probably should have watched where I was going, but of course, if it's banned away once again, then that is going to be a small complication. But we are going to get underway here. We are into the pick and bans, going straight to it. Once again, we'll see 5 Amigos. They have the opportunity. First ban coming on the board was originally, like you said, that Tristana. If they opt to go for it again, it will signal that maybe they have some other plans in mind.
Rumble, okay. I mean, it's a solid ban, right? Like we said, the junglers right now. And for the side of Nightless Void, we kind of didn't touch on their draft because I don't think they need to change anything just yet, right? The Lulu Kog'Maw worked great. The Varus ban coming out as well. If we can't have it, nobody can.
Nobody wants to eat a chain of corruption, and honestly, with how quickly you can set some
Okay.
stuff up with that, with that Varus, you don't have to win lane. You just have to be ready to go in whenever the jungler wants. So of course, taking away, so still the
Mhm.
Thresh ban, still targeting that bottom lane, saying we don't even want to test those champions out. 5 Amigos, of course, did ban away the Corki like you predicted, and also the Lulu. So leaving
Okay.
Morgana, Diana, and Tristana alive. 3 very heavy power picks that now Nightless Void have to choose one of 3 to ban.
And since the Morgana is up right now, Nightless Void might switch up their last ban. Instead of the Udyr here, they might be willing to say, okay, you get Morg, we get Udyr potentially. Nope, they took it out. So I guess they're still comfortable, running potentially that Volibear here. And now, 5 Amigos, you leave that Morgana open, and you've also let through that Tristana. You've got to pick one of them, right? Or are you just going to let everything go and then try and react, give over all the power picks? Doesn't really make sense to me if they do that.
I mean, you leave them all up. You leave 5 open. You give one. You take one. You leave
What?
you give 2, and they go for the Jinx once again. Didn't have that great of a time, and I mean, they are putting a lot of priority on here as that is a little bit of a question mark.
That's a huge question mark to me. Okay, like well, Morgana is super super safe, and the other problem too is that even say iCryptix did really well on that Diana, Morgana as a jungler is sort of a bit of a counter to that Diana as well, especially in the early phases. So you're really giving up a lot here. Tristana gets locked in. It can go to Wake. It can go to Sir Zipri. It's that flex pick here. At least if it's just a Corki, you know exactly where it's going to go. Tristana could go either way here. And we have seen Sir Zipri play very, very well on it. What are they going to pick into it? Pick alongside it, I guess. Is it going to be a support? Is it going to be the jungle? Another flex pick. Karma could go mid, top, support. I like that a lot. And it still pairs really well with the Kog'Maw.
Pairs amazingly well, and the poke is always relentless. So now with this kind of combination that you already see from Nightless Void, 5 Amigos have to do some damage control, right? They are being tested here, it feels. When you leave both the Morgana and the Diana up, you are literally saying, I feel at least, that, hey, we don't care what you pick, we will go ahead and take it. They're gonna pick up the Lee Sin. Of course, now this is also a triple flex, as many people may have seen. Top, jungle, and mid again played in every role. We'll see if the blind man decides to go a 1 of 3, and we'll see what the third pick is. It is going to be that Victor. Victor was banned away by Nightless Void in the second round phase of bans, so going ahead, picking that one up early and saying we have a solid mid lane.
Okay, and the Lee Sin pickup as well. That's something that iCryptix plays quite a bit of, at least in the regular season. So right now, that looks a lot like support. Pardon me, jungle, not support. Jungle to me.
We going down to bronze and iron right there.
Hey, Lee Sin support was a thing for a while there in Korea. So, okay, mid laners being picked up here, Orianna and Victor. And I'm not a huge fan of it for Nightless Void, because now you have tipped your hand that Tristana is going to go to that ADC position here. You do have double shielding, and when I see double shielding comms, one thing that always springs to mind for me for junglers is going to be that Olaf here. Olaf does really well into the Morgana as well, does pretty decently into Lee Sin, and if you've got all these shields, it's going to be so hard to stop that Olaf from just running amok in your backline here, just running down that Jinx.
Oh, well, they really don't want to deal with that Leona again. The Leona did do a little bit of work. We did see some catches, and especially that first blood in the mid lane really caught Nightless Void, I think, a little bit off guard. So not wanting to deal with that chain CC available. Now, again, 5 Amigos do have the bans, and they go for the Volibear, which, as we stated, did have some cause for concerns. Go ahead, take that one away. Nightless Void actually hovering the Olaf when it would probably synergize with the comp more. Yeah, they banned it. What?
Okay, I'm not 100% sure why the Olaf banned here. I mean, sure, you can think the Lee Sin's going top. That's fine. That's okay. But what risk is an Olaf having with this against your composition here? I feel like it's a little unnecessary. You know what? They did it. Diana coming out. I like that ban, because I was going to say if Olaf is down, another backline diver would be the Diana. They go for the Morgana. It's shields on shields on shields right now. And if you had a Jinx, if you had a Kog'Maw, if you had a Vayne, great. Tristana is very strong late, don't get me wrong. I just don't think it matches up that well into a Jinx here. I think you need something that can find the back line.
Yeah, it's not going to be the machine gun that you normally see or that you normally want to pair with so many. It's the old school protect the ADC composition. 5 Amigos now going to take a look. They are going to draw the Scion. So picking up a heavy tank this time, which I do feel is a lot safer than, say, a Mundo tank in the top side, right? This time, for a fact, you will be able to build that Bramble first if you really need to, or anything of the sort. Amigos still looking for, I think, a support as well. We have seen Scion support, but that is, again, once in the bronze and iron stages. I really hope we don't see Scion support, because that has wrecked my nightmares more times than I can count. No one said it's a Seraphine, the other one that kind of scares me everywhere I go. So, Seraphine support locked in for 5 Amigos.
Okay, and I like what I'm seeing from 5 Amigos right away. Their comp feels really good to me right now. You're running into a Karma, Orianna, Morgana here. None of them can stop Scion. So you've got a comp that kind of wants to kite away a little bit. You don't get that option with Scion. As long as Strikedown can drive this car, right, this tank right here, you will crash into them. You will get the guaranteed engage. You pair that with the Seraphine, with the Lee Sin, with the Victor, and you've got a really solid composition. Nar being picked up for Cuddle Snuffles in the top lane does well into the Scion, but it's not anywhere near as punishing as it was against Dr. Mundo, because Scion will skill infinitely here, is very good at just soaking up that pressure. So I don't necessarily think it's the best, but it's also very conditional, because Nightless Void don't have a solid engage at this point, and you don't have the option of just kiting back. Before this, yes, you could just kite back almost infinitely, but with the Scion, you will have to fight. And Mega Nar being conditional here does mean that if 5 Amigos time it right, when your Rage Bar is not ready to go, they should be able to win any fight they choose to engage.
Yeah, and we saw it even in game 1. Nightless Void were also a little bit stingy on whenever they played around that mini Gnar and Mega Gnar forms, right? There were points where Cuddle Snuffles kind of teleported in at the wrong time, or he teleported in and they waited around a little bit too long, and he had to kind of juggle that timing, right? Try and stack up as quickly as possible. So definitely gonna be on that macro level play, but I really want to draw eyes down to the bottom lane, right? Last time we saw the Leona locked in for the side of 5 Amigos. This time around, they locked in the Seraphine, which is a drastically more, I feel, poke-heavy composition laid out towards the mid to late. Not only that, the Tristana Karma is not going to output, I feel, the same amount like you were talking about. Do you feel, previously it was a losing lane for 5 Amigos, do you feel like the Jinx Seraphine will have a little bit easier time this time, or do you still think it's still in the favor of Nightless Void?
I'm still favoring Nightless Void. If anything, I think the Tristana Karma combination is more explosive here, literally, because the explosive shots, if you landed on Seraphine or Jinx, either of them will get squished down. You follow up with the poke from the Karma, the speed up and shields from Karma as well. Nightless Void, if anything, have an even stronger early game coming out their bot side here. It's the late game I worry about for them. Their top side is actually in favor of Nightless Void as well. So theoretically, Drop should have a fairly comfortable jungle. Orianna versus Victor. It's a handshake lane here. So Nightless Void needs to make things happen early. If they can dominate the game right off from the get-go, that's great. But they do have to be aware they're on a timer, and they do have to be aware that the enemy jungler Lee Sin is very, very mobile and can pump out a lot of damage. If you do manage to find Mini Gnar top side, Lee Sin can absolutely 1v1 him. And Sion, that's just additional seasoning. Bot side as well, if he does manage to get onto your Trist, onto your Karma, can spell a lot of trouble for you.
Yeah, not just that, you know, even the Morgana straight up head to head, right? The way I feel is the Morgana is, of course, the one champion that you really don't want to be invaded, right? Morgana wants to farm up, be able to take the camps a bit quicker, and Lee Sin, of course, loves to duel. This is a champion that was known as one of the earliest game duelers. You just run around, fight the enemy jungler, and poof, you're ahead or something like that. And of course, we haven't seen Cryptix be able to do that, right? The Diana kind of fell a little bit flat, had some complications, but now you have the dashes, now you have those ins that you can really layer in your own techniques and possibly be that carry for your squad. So taking a look on the side of Nightless Void, they are 1-0 in this series. They won game one pretty convincingly, but on a timer, on a positional advantage or disadvantage, I should say. Where do you see they have to kind of put all of their eggs, or where do you see them kind of focusing a little bit more this time around?
For Nightless Void, I'd say, pump it onto your bot lane. I think Cuddle will be able to win that lane anyways. We saw Cuddle do it last game with virtually no assistance, whatsoever. So get your Tristana snowballing, because I think that's the biggest impetus for your team. And for 5 Amigos, early game, just try and survive, man. You're not going to win the side lane. They're probably not going to win the mid lane too much. And a lot of pressure on iCryptix here to figure out where you want to go, and to also make sure that you don't get 3-buffed and you don't just get out-farmed, because Lee Sin, a great duelist he might be, not so great a farmer, and Morgana can just strip everything away from you when you're off ganking just one lane.
All right, well, there you go. Nightless Void on the timer. Have to possibly look towards that bottom lane, get that Tristana rolling, or if 5 Amigos can play together as a squad and be able to weather out the early game, we will have to wait and see, of course, as we go into a very short break to make sure we provide you a quality broadcast. Go ahead, get a couple snacks, get a little bit of water, and be right back as we get ready to load in for game number 2. And here we go once again onto Summoners Rift here in the UML quarterfinals. 5 Amigos down again, a single game, and that game was quite a bit. They need to win 2 in a row, and this time around, leaving open the Morgana and the, I believe it was the Diana, and opting for the Lee Sin. So a lot of eyes on iCryptics to make some early game plays.
Yeah, and they left open the Tristana here. So we did see 2 out of those things that they left open being picked up here. It does surprise me a little bit that Morgana got all the way to the second phase here. And we'll have to see if, you know, that was a good decision. I do like what we've seen from the draft from 5 Amigos here, but you know what? We got to wait to see how they can execute here, because we know there are some avenues for Nightless Void. It's not 100% loss in draft here.
No, not at all, but I mean, they got to play it, right? They got to make sure that they play well. I don't think they can stall out as hard as they did in the early game, right? The early game was, I think, extremely quiet up till, you know, I want to say about 13 minutes. I think it was only 1-2, and then the Rift Herald, of course, took down that bottom side tower, but definitely feels like you had to make a few more moves if you really want to get yourselves ahead, as we do see. Looks like it will be opposite side starts once again. Red buff taken by both junglers to kick things off.
And more interestingly here, Orbital, no wards actually placed from either party here. So they're just going blind here in terms of how they're approaching these lanes right now. And that to me is somewhat worrying for both these teams, because we already talked about how iCryptics might want to invade and try and stop drops, but the inverse is true as well. Drops, if you're not checked, if you can guess right here, can just out farm, double scuttle, potentially even invade onto the Lee Sin as well. Why I say invade, it's more just steal away jungle camps.
Ooh. Sir Zepri hitting an early level 2, try to trade back and forth with Bark. But Barco Duck is holding his own, at least. And once again, remember, the Orianna was called in as the counter pick. So we'll see if that helps out. That's going to be a little bit of a ward over on the top side. Looks like they are just trying to spot where iCryptics is going to go.
They did at least guess right in terms of where iCryptics is currently top side. So hopefully that ward will spot, actually does now spot iCryptic covering that top side here. And Cuddle Snuffles, pardon me, and Sir Zepri should be playing passively. Sir Zepri very, very far up here.
Oh, that's going to be the roll down here in the mid, as Sir Zepri is going to go ahead and realize he is getting ganked. He's going to go ahead and circle all the way around. I think he's just going to die, or he might actually try and TP out. He's going to throw down the QW and is going to keep running. Dodges out on the Sonic Wave and is going to go ahead and fight out. And that actually means Barco Bike might not be able to fight this. He's actually losing quite a bit of health. They're going to keep chasing this. That's going to be a Q landed and handed over. iCryptics gets first blood.
Zepri does not respect the fact that Lee Sin was there. And you have to remember how creative Lee Sin can get with wards in terms of pathing. But good on Sir Zepri to waste so much time there. It could have gone worse. The problem is you've kind of wasted both mid laners' time. So Zepri has to TP back into lane. Will be in time to catch the wave, though. So aside from first blood gold, not going to lose too much more.
Not at all. And of course, remember, the gold did go to iCryptic, so it's not going to be in Barco Duck's pocket, meaning that there isn't going to be a huge shift, right? It's still going to be even, and both of them did come back. It looks like actually Sir Zepri went for the tier build, and instead Barco Duck did go for that optimal, very quick damage. Toy goes ahead, takes a quick zapper to the face, as both supports have been trading fairly evenly, with Stone Wolf about 4 CS behind the Tristana.
Honestly, not too bad to only be down for CS. I'm more watching the health bars of Silver Dragon kind of drop, because I think that's what I'm kind of looking for a bit more, is the kill pressure, the potential coming out here. And if they do manage to jump onto Silver Dragon, they can definitely pop them down. Dragon coming on 30 seconds as well. If you die and your jungle happens to be bot side, which drops is right now, that could be a kill, and Dragon as well.
You're going to look for it. We do see drops taking away an enemy. Krug's gonna try and sneak around, go for the binding, is gonna throw it out, does land it! That is gonna be Silver Dragon falling with flash up.
And Dragon.
Yeah.
Like I said, overall, like that was exactly what I called, and to some extent, there's not much you can do as Stone Wolf and Silver Dragon. You kind of have to expect that's coming. Exhaust was already used there. Heal wouldn't have saved you anyway, so What you're gonna do? You take the loss, you move on here, and if anything, it kind of is on iCryptics to try and find something on that particular play there. Dragon's going down, you can't contest it here. Is invading topside. There's not a lot there. Maybe look for Cuddle Snuffles, who is fairly extended right now and is kind of squishy still.
Kind of squishy. Now a little bit less squishy as the Mountain Dragon was picked up, and will be a Cloud Drake second. So drastically different souls that you are going to work with, but iCryptics is very calmly farming back up. Strike down, taking a massive beating here on the top side.
As we, again, somewhat expected. It's Snag versus Nar, and Cuddle Snuffles, we already said it, it's the most played champion. Cuddles is a strong side player as well. And this is why I keep calling for pressure onto that top side. Oh, that sweep there was nutty. I didn't think that was actually in range. That hitbox is huge.
Yeah. And not only that, it actually drew iCryptics up to the top side, and I think he actually peaked on top of Minion, which is not the greatest, right? That shows where iCryptics was. That is going to mean that Drops is pretty free to move into this top side and possibly get a cheeky little binding over the wall and maybe go for a kill, but Drops is just going ahead and sweeping around, trying to find a little bit of purchase.
And Drops has not really been able to just out farm that Lee Sin, as we were kind of alluding to before. They're pretty much even in terms of CS right now, and that's not a win for this Morgana. You want to be able to apply either a ton of lane pressure, a ton of threat with those bindings, or you need to out farm. Right now, not able to do both. iCryptics, on the other hand, I think that early kill has been great, and also needs to start applying some pressure into the lanes. If not, it's going to be another really stale early game.
Yeah, these teams don't want to fight, which, I mean, either that's granted respect or just not wanting to cause any action. Scuttle is going to go ahead, be picked up by Drops on that far side. ADCs are going to keep farming up, and remember, they look like they've opted for a very slightly different build past the pickaxe in Stonewall's pocket, whereas the Noon Quiver was able to be picked up by Wake OGs. So obviously different points of power in the current time, and especially at a point where they are going to hit level 6 here shortly. I think another wave and a half, or maybe about a wave, is going to mean that we could see some explosive action here on the bot side.
I hope so, bro. I really do. And I think the item differential also comes down to what they had in their pockets when they based, because Wake did pick up the kill there in that lane. No, yeah, they're not quite in position right now. I feel like we should have a little game right now, bro. Who do you think, which jungler do you think is actually going to gank first? Because they're both just power farming.
I feel at this point, they're just not going to, right? They're like, all right, listen, nothing has worked. We are going to quietly wait till 20 minutes, and then as soon as Baron spawns, we all just rush it as fast as we can. That is all that's going to happen.
Yo, it's a strike down roll. Strike down's moving first. Forget the junglers. We're looking top laners.
Yeah, strike down goes ahead and pulls a cheeky ult. So Zeepri's just like, all right, I got to burn the flash. Fine.
It's a good burn. Herald's up right now as well. I mean, you push them back. Cryptics was coming up looking for that collapse as well. The problem is, while the idea was good, there is a cost. Cuddle just knocking on that turret once again here, and they're just not comfortable going for that Herald. The good thing for 5 Amigos, though, is we already said they kind of outscale, so they can kind of sit back. If they don't manage to make the moves, not a big deal as long as they still get the farm on their critical members, i.e. Stonewall.
Yeah, and I mean, he is farming very well, keeping in time, but Sir Zeepri is going to get the kill, misses up the insect. Shockwave does land, draws iCryptics away. If that Q lands, it is going to be a kill. No, Sir Zeepri is going to walk away. Now it is going to be Cuddles Snuffles. He's going to walk his way in. He is Mega Gnar, but that Stasis Field is going to make him back off.
It's official, Orbital. The top laners are ganking more than the junglers. iCryptics found Sir Zeepri, but that wasn't exactly a gank. And Drops just power farming the enemy's jungle. Still not significantly ahead either. Dragon coming up in 1 minute, Orbital. Everybody is 6 right now, so maybe that's going to be the big power point we're going to see. And if it is, I think rather than the compositions, it's going to be more on vision and who's actually set up at that dragon when it spawns.
Yeah, this dragon is going to be the breaking point for these teams, depending on how they set up. Of course, it is iCryptics that is trying to farm up his top side. Taking a look at the itemization differences as well, we do see the Sork Shoes coming out for Drops along with that Predator on there. So really trying to get a good handle, and that's going to be the Encore landing. Does get the jump off, though. as that is the most annoying feature of Tristana. The buffer can even block ultimates.
Oh my goodness, it ruined everything because of the buffer there. It still went off and all the full up damage didn't land. That's a huge ultimate down, just as Dragon is spawning right now. So forget about the vision. It should be Nightless Void who will be able to get in there and get this Drake right now. The only question will be, can iCryptic steal it? Because Lee Sin burst damage with that Sonic Wave, with that Resonating Strike, is still something to be wary of here.
Yeah, both of them level 7. So same smite damage as well. No encore, and everyone is down on that bot side. Cuddle Snuffle's also building up the rage bar. So should be okay. Dragging down to about 1k health. He is possibly going to go for the seal, but the binding was there, and that's just his life.
Not the fight I was looking for, Orbital. Actually, hold up.
Yeah, that wasn't anyone. As Silver Dragon is able to stifle out on that dodge. Toy has to flash away. That's Wake OG gonna be fighting on the bot side. And of course, only the Lee Sin does go down. Top lane, we do see a battle of the Brutes. But still, iCryptix tried to go in, wasn't able to really get that down. Let it be known. Let it be known. RMC has broken, ladies and gentlemen. That is,
bro. Minions don't spawn onto the rift to watch this crap. I mean, we get farmed already on a regular basis. Gotta give us some action to watch at least right now. Farm. The only big farm differential is in the top lane, so it's not even like there's one lane that's really popping off, kind of exciting to watch here. The teams don't seem to care about the Herald. It's still up. If Nightless Void can get it, they can get first turret, but they aren't looking at it. 5 Amigos continue to struggle a little bit in terms of finding action. So I just don't see an impetus for action anytime soon, Orbital. And so I'm starting to run out of things to talk about.
we can talk about how many camps people have farmed. Oh, no, we can't. We've talked about that already. We can talk about how many. Oh, only 3 kills have really gone on. So yeah, you're right. We kind of lost track of whatever we want to talk about. Oh, here we go. We have the most impressive fight of all. Strike down and Cuddle. Nope, Cuddle's running away. Come on, you can't concede the fight before it even starts. I don't think that's how that works. I'm trying, okay? I'm giving you something.
Yeah, no, fair enough here. And this can't go on for much longer, right? Like, all these missed kills right now, things are being burned, flashes are down. Oh, good kick.
And they found it. Flash in, and Sir Zebri. We have action! We have action! Just one. Now, we have action.
But it's still a kill overall, and now the question is, what can you do with that action? You've got a kill, but Drops is already doing the Herald. So normally when you get a kill, you want to get a turret, you want to get an objective. No Dragon, no pressure on the turrets. Smite early from Drops here does actually secure it. So great for Amigos that they get a kill, but they don't find anything else on the back end of it.
Oh, well, Drops is going to have to drop that Black Shield. Q doesn't land. That could have been a very dangerous situation. Now Strikedown has to walk through a lot of damage. Up comes Bark, who's going to help his top lane. Does not get the knock-up. That's going to be the bot lane, actually, with Encore lands, this time only on Toy. Toy actually survives with a sliver of health, and that's going to be Wake OG. Going to be picking up a kill. One more auto attack as it jumps into the fight and trades it back 1v2. Wake OG turns it 4-1. Once again, this ADC cannot be stopped.
Okay, Orbital, now we've got action happening. Kills on the bot side, fights on the top side. First turret going down as well. And that should mean a bit of a shuffle in terms of lane assignments. Even scarier, Wake OG now 4-1. And we talked about Nightless Void's composition. I was concerned they don't have great engage. They needed to get their main damage threat, the Tristana, rolling. I'd say 4-1 at 14 minutes is pretty decent here.
Yeah, and again, it's deja vu. It feels like from game number 1, right? Wake OG getting a lead, Sir Zepri. This time around, not having the greatest of games, but still in it, right? Up about 5 CS, farming up decently well, is going for that Leandries as well. So not burst damage, but enough burn to kind of cut through Strike Down and iCryptic. So once again, Nightless Void, even though they're on a timer, are doing extremely well for themselves.
And I do want to keep some tabs onto Sir Zepri as well, because right now it feels like all of Nightless Void's eggs are in the Wake basket here. But Tristana is kind of squishy, and from what we've seen of Wake, this is not, Sven style Tristana where you sit back. This is Wild Turtle style Tristana. In that last fight as well, you get the kill, you saw the TP coming in. Wake didn't go out. Wake went in to pick up another kill. And I respect that when you're the carry, when you need to find the kills, but it does mean though that in these fights, there's a very high chance that Nightless Void will lose their damage fairly early on.
Oh, they're going to try and bolster that damage with an Infernal, which is going to be the soul to fight for. iCryptix is going to meet an unfortunate series of events as Waco G is going to jump in. Big damage on the Stonewolf. Stonewolf is dead, but the train is here. The pain has collapsed in. That is going to be strike down, taking the ADC, but it's already 2 members down. Cryptix has to use the ultimate, but the shockwave is much cleaner. Going to get the kill onto the Karma. Karma is going to go down. Now Cuddle is trying his best to stay alive, go to the Mega Form to get a little bit of health back, and that is a trade of the bot lane threats. Now it's going to be strike down. He does get bound up and has to flash away. Remember, he has no ultimate, and he's going to be trying to run for his life. Cuddle is going to jump right in. One more auto is there, and Bark gets the kill. A trade again. These people have no fear. Orianna is going to get the kill. No, that's going to be the kill. Juggler action. Cryptix finally shows some signs of life as the kills are now all tied up. A bloody brawl in the bottom lane.
That was not a cohesive team fight here. It wasn't good coordination. That was sheer mechanics, Orbital. And at the end of the day, 5 Amigos coming out just barely on that because the damage was gone. Once Wake was dead, Cuddle tried their best.
Uh-oh, now it's going to be a return of the battle. Rumble Mania is continuing, but the War is too good, and the rocket to finish it off. 5 Amigos turning on the Afterburners, picking up 2 more at the end of that Drake, and they are getting everything and more. Toy is going to eat a kick, can't get the Dragon's Rage, and Cryptix, it might just die. No, he's going to stay alive. He's going to live. Oh, all this action kicks off at the brink. At the end of the early game, and everyone, and I mean everyone, suddenly has a taste for blood.
Okay, Orbital, 10-minute nap is over. I'm awake, I'm alert. This is better than coffee to wake you up here. There's just surge of adrenaline from this constant fighting. My concern is 5 Amigos composition just looking better. I know that they're down gold, but gold is not a good indicator, as we can see in that last fight. That was just 5 Amigos running it, and what can Nightless Void do? They couldn't find the backline. Stonewolf was basically untouched after the first 30 seconds of that fight. And we already saw they have so many tools to punish Wake here. Wake has to play it perfectly, whereas Stonewolf has a huge margin for error.
Huge margin of error as Kettle Snuffles is going to sniff his way right back out of that tower range. Stonewolf is also fairly painful, right? You're taking a look at the gold, currently sitting on about 900, does have that Kraken Slayer built. So this is a much different Jinx than in game number 1, right? A little bit more online, a little bit earlier on. Not just that, Cryptix with this Prowler's Claw is going to be kicking people all over the place. You saw how much damage he could output, and he's finally showing signs. So at this point, if we don't see Cryptix continuously trying to aggress on someone, I feel that 4-1-4 lead that he has amassed for himself will be wasted.
Yes and no. Like, definitely you would want to see him be able to pop multiple targets here, but at the same time, I think the Lee Sin with the new items is always going to be relevant if there's an enemy squishy here, because Wake is not going to build armor. And you're seeing more and more lethality come through from Cryptix, and with that Prowler's Claw, the amplification as well, that 15% increased damage, that's always going to find Wake in every single fight here. So I'm still okay with it, even if they're not super getting ahead. Instead, I'm still looking for Nightless Void to try and find some action. Cuddles, ooh, this is a bit sketch situation here.
Oh, well, the dash around is there, but the damage still goes through. The slow is enough, and the bounce out. A little bit of a dance as the circus show continues. Cuddle is kicked right back, but knocked out of the queue. Oh, but that's the raw damage that you like to see. iCryptix picks up his 5th of the game, bottom lane. We do know that there's a trade going on. As you see the health bars being traded back and forth. Man, that zap hurts. Bart goes ahead and forces Orianna out. That's going to be mid lane, seeing the rest of the action.
And now that bot side turret's actually not going to be too safe. Herald being done on the top side, though, because why not? You killed Cuddle. You know there's no pressure. And 5 Amigos starting to accelerate the game pace. They're winning the 1v1 in the bot side. They're getting Herald here. And mid lane turrets, though, if they drop Herald, that's a guaranteed turret.
Oh.
They're fine.
Bart goes ahead, picks up a solo kill. Wake goes ahead, dodges from a zapper. And like you said, the pace has accelerated. The timers have been timed. And, you know, Bart for this game feels a lot stronger. Now the mid lane is going to be cracked. Richfield has been dropped. And the entirety of 5 Amigos save for Bark is going to be trying to pressure down this mid lane, try and crack it open as wide as possible.
And really, very little contest right now, Sir because he went down. They just can't fight that. They can't match it right now. And the gold lead, it was actually in favor of Nightless Voids right up to the moment that turret dropped. Now it's starting to swing the way of 5Amigos. Their comp was already stronger. Now they're getting more gold. And we got to see the gold earlier. The gold advantage is in favor of the Victor in that mid lane for the most part. Bark Gold Duck starting to look scary. And Lich Bane completed as well. If Mininar is close enough, like we saw in that last fight, if Wake OG jumps in, like we saw in that last fight, they're just going to get absolutely popped.
Yeah, you don't want to face off against a Luden's Tempest and Lich Bane on any mid laner. That is a terrifying thought. Taking a look at the upgrades, I think he has 2 upgrades so far as well. So it's just getting worse and worse. This Victor pickup has worked wonders. We do have Dragon coming up in just 20 seconds. A lot of vision coming down for the side of Nightless Void. They are trying to get it cleared out as Stonewolf is also going to follow. Q lands onto Toy. But they're 5 members strong, so 5Amigos still wondering how they're going to play this one.
They can play it however they want. Dragon being set up for here by both of these teams. And look where Strikedown is. The Unstoppable Charge is available.
Oh, this is going to hurt. You're going to catch at least one. That's a big knockup. Who can follow up, though? He's very far ahead. They find Cuddle Snuffles, who is very, very low. Shockwave lands onto 2, but the Encore lands on a primary. Double kill for the Wolf. Drops is going to flash away. One auto attack is all it takes for an empowered Barcode Zuck. A very quick 3-1 trade means Dragon for 5Amigos.
The scary thing for me is that 5Amigos can now 4-stack Inferno and get an Inferno Soul, and their damage is going to be off the charts right now. And we already talked about putting all your eggs in one basket. Why that's not a good idea with that much damage. Even worse, Baron in their sights as well. The death timers are not very long, but even if they do spawn, they double TP is available technically here, but more importantly, your jungler can't get there. No smite.
And no Shockwave either, so you can't really corral everyone, and they know it's down. They're going to try teleport straight in the middle, though, for Strike Down, so he's going to help secure this Baron, which I think is the right call. Sir Zepri is a little bit late here to this Baron, and that is going to be 5Amigos firing back here in game number 2.
Okay, and I think Stone has enough in the pocket to complete that Runan's Hurricane as well, so 5Amigos can just look to siege up, and if ever Nightless Void step out from beyond their turret without a Meganar, that's going to be a free win. Even if they don't step out without Meganar, the poke that can come out right now is going to be huge. Wake OG only level 11 right now. So in terms of range for that Tristana passive, you're just barely 605 attack range. You can't match the rockets from a Jinx.
Just that you can't, even if they were the same, I feel the damage is just much higher from Stonewolf right now, level 12, and just firing on all cylinders, right? 2 items. He has the pickaxe to follow as well. This Jinx is going to shred. I think obviously that's going to go into the Lord Dominic's regard, right? But again, all of these stacking points have been so good, and 5Amigos also have not slipped up. We saw game number 1, there were points where little slip ups gave opportunities back and forth. 5Amigos have felt a lot more tight-knit this game, and yeah, here they go. They pull the Unstoppable off, trying to find Toy, and the glide is there, gets huge damage. What? On Wake OG, that's a quarter of the ADC's health. The Silver Dragon did eat the binding, and they're going to try and follow up. Jobs is going to go ahead, get a little bit of speed up. Toy is going to follow, and they're going to try and pull the Shockwave Strike down. And the land, and the Encore doesn't go down. But a huge ultimate from Barco Duck is going to secure the first kill. Blast is back, but the ultimates do not matter. The triple kill coming in for Bark. The Victor is going ham, and Stonewolf follows it up with 1. 5Amigos blast through the mid lane and take the inhibitor as their boon.
They're just missing minions. Stonewolf has to go back to herd the rest of the minions along with that Baron buff. And I think this is a wrap pretty much here with the Baroned up minions, with the Jinx here. The only way they can stall this is if Wake somehow pops off, but I don't see it happening right now, Orbital.
No, we do not. We talked about it before, and 5Amigos pull it off. Game number 2, going into the pockets of the 5 of the best of friends.
Thankfully, I mean, or I don't know if it's thankful or not, Orbital, but this is a best of 3. So we get one more game, winner takes all here. And frankly, this game I blame all on draft. I think it's 100% on draft. Nightless Void can clean that up real easy here. They just didn't have good engage. They just had no way to deal with the scaling coming through from 5 Amigos here, and they decided to just give us a nap for the first 10 minutes. And I think that was the big problem right here. If you're going to draft a comp like that, you need to be aggressive with it. And frankly, just don't draft it.
I love how that devolved into just madness for you, and I think that really sums it up, right? It's been such a sleeper, and yet we see so many aggressive picks, and it's something that I have kind of rough feelings about, right? These are known as kind of early game champions. You talked about it, the timer on these, so maybe see a bit more action, maybe see a little bit more consistency and aggressiveness to kind of give yourselves a better opportunity instead of having to take that 50-50 at 14-15 minutes where you are potentially just letting 2K, 3K all of a sudden slip out of your fingers. So we'll see if that occurs in game number 3. We'll see if they just turn it into another snooze fest. Who knows? No one does until we get onto the Rift. So please make sure to go get some sacks and make sure to hydrate up as we will go to a very short break to get ready for game number 3. And we are back with what will be the finale of this quarterfinals matchup. Once again, it is first seed 5 Amigos versus second seed Nightless Void. Once again, battling it out. Nightless Void took game number 1, but 5 Amigos fired back the best defense. The power of friendship prevails in what was quite possibly one of the slower matches we've had tonight. But of course, game number 3 can either bring a lot of action or a lot of precision. One or the other will decide this match.
So here's the problem, Orbital. You know, like how in anime, like power of friendship, and they start winning, right? So they lose first, they win, and then what happens after that? Do they lose again? Is that how this arc goes? What's the script say?
You know what? I have it right here. I have it here, and it's gone. Same with my camera. It's just gone. We gave up. Of course, it is fantastic though, as we do get underway for the champion select. Nightless Void going ahead and being on the blue side this time, as of course they were the ones that lost last game. So swapping the sides over, they go ahead and ban the Jinx, which is obviously very, very targeted. And again, the Thresh. So kind of swapping back and forth where each team is just like, you know what, you played it last time, might as well give you the benefit of the doubt.
I mean, I'm actually a little bit shocked that they're banning Jinx on blue side here, because Wake played a lot of Jinx and Varus. Those were his most played champions throughout the split. Your blue side, you can pick that. And if we look at what they've prioritized here, it's been the Tristana, you know, things like the Karma, the Lulu here. I think you can afford to take that Jinx first and then let through that Lulu Karma instead. I don't think it's that big a deal. Lulu actually being banned, so that's not even an option.
Yeah, well, you taking a look across the board, we're actually seeing from game number 1 a drastic shift in terms of opportunities. Yeah, the Thresh and the Rumble are the only 2 consistent bans that have made it across the board. So obviously, they're going to go ahead and nab up the Varus that they have been having to ban away 2 games in a row.
Hey, what did I say? Jinx Varus, you ban one, you take the other there. It is nice and open, and Varus is not like that Kog'Maw sort of pick. You don't need a Lulu, you don't need a Karma to enable you here. You can pair Varus with any support. You can pair it with even random things like a Cho'Gath support if you want. Varus will be able to hold the lane here. So I love the pickup. Sivir to answer. And that's an answer that I've seen floating around. It's very risky. You match the poke off that Varus, you negate some of it with that shield as well. The biggest issue with that Sivir, of course, is the range. When you pick a Sivir, the whole comp has to go in. It's similar to a Kai'Sa composition here. You press that R, you go right in, or you go right out here. But either way, Sivir's going to be up close and personal.
Well, you know, you said you want to go forward. What's the one champion that's going to go forward is a freaking Sion locked in on the top side. And I will say, Strikedown in game number 2 held his own, right? Pretty much only 1 or 2 ganks at the latter stages of the game too. So really getting that in, but Nightless Void slamming back Udyr from game number 1 and Lee Sin this time on their side, potentially going top or mid, stealing that away from the jungle.
Yeah, I like the adaptation here, because while I didn't think iCryptix did a great job on the Lee Sin, you do want to sort of put them off their comfort champions. Ooh. The Morgana being picked up as well is actually a little dicey to me, because one of the reasons why Lee Sin is so strong in solo lanes is because Lee Sin can act as a second jungler. You shove that wave very quickly with that E, and then you go roaming with your jungler, and no one is safe at all. You can just gank, or a Morgana. We talked about the problem last time. You don't duel well. And sure, you can Dark Binding a Udyr, you can Dark Binding a Lee Sin, but you can't Dark Binding both.
Yeah, can't do it all at the top there, and that means that obviously we are going to go ahead and get that Tristana ban. It is still a potential threat. And honestly, it looked somewhat okay in those early stages, right? WokeOG actually was able to pick up a lot of kills, was 4-1-0 at one point. Just that composition kind of fell apart. So giving respect over there. Nightless Void going ahead and giving respect right back. The Encore, some points were very good, but the heals were even better, so not allowing that one to be handed over to 5 Amigos.
Yeah, I thought the Seraphine was huge last game. Silver Dragon executing it really, really well. Those Encores, especially to continuously punish WakeOG, were great. I honestly don't think the Tristana ban was needed, because if Nightless Void picked that Tristana here, they're very heavy on their physical damage, and they're kind of lacking in the magic department. So I suspect Sir Zupri more likely to run something magical like the Orianna. Victor's already taken away here. So yeah, probably something more like the Orianna here.
Yeah, Orianna once again, and it feels kind of rough to say that, considering Orianna's thus far in this series have both lost, right? It's 0 for 2 currently in this series, so maybe you don't want to take it, maybe you have some bad memories, but at the same time it would synergize, right? You do want to not allow that Udyr and Lee Sin to have kind of that ball delivery battery set up for yourselves. But a great way to kind of stall it out and help your team is going to be the Galio. Anytime Udyr and Lee Sin step up, taunt them out, and the stone will take it all.
I mean, taunting a Varus is a risky thing to do because you'd absolutely get shut down, especially if it is that on-hit Varus here. But I do like what it does with the composition. We have to keep in mind, support not yet picked up for Nightless Void here. So Galio Sivir is definitely punishable. If you run a very, very heavy poke, for example, you can definitely beat them out. Alistair works as well. That's not as necessarily lane dominant to pick, but with the poke ability, with especially if you do go on hit Varus or Hill of Blades Varus here, Alistair Varus does have quite a lot of kill pressure. If an Udyr comes in and stuns it up, the sheer amount of CC chain that you can put out, one spell shield isn't going to be enough.
Nope, not at all, and that is going to be a Mordekaiser Hover, a blind pick Mordekaiser, I almost said Nautilus for some reason. Both of them tin cans, by the way. Mordekaiser is going to go ahead and be fully locked in, which I'm interested to see where they go with it. Of course, the Lee Sin and Mordekaiser can be pretty much flexed all the time. Of course, you do see the Scion, but this is pretty much an all melee range composition. Spare the Varus.
Yeah, and you're okay with doing that because the enemy is running the Sivir, so you know that they want to run into you. I like the Mordekaiser pickup here. It will probably go top into the Scion. It denies a lot, and I like it especially because we saw how impactful Strikedown was with an Unstoppable Charge. Had really good sense for how and when to use it to engage here. And you pick up that Mordekaiser, suddenly Scion's Unstoppable Charge, not so unstoppable anymore. There is a limit to the Death Realm as to how far you can go, and that will leave us a Sylas Lee Sin mid lane matchup most likely.
Yeah, and honestly, I would not be surprised if you just flex around consistently. But the Sylas I do love. It's one of the rare ones that obviously anytime you have the Alistar, you have to have it in the back of your mind, right?
Mhm.
Always thinking, hey, the Sylas can't come out. That Sylas can be an absolute menace to deal with. It can terrify you at all points because Sylas with that Unbreakable Will turns into just this cake that is worse than the Alistar himself. So I love this kind of lock in here. And this one, I feel RMC has to be a bloodier brawl. These are a bunch of melee matchups. The only ones that won't be pretty much are the Sivir and Varus. And they got to punch each other. That's the only outcome that can occur here.
I'm sure it will be. Also, because we have now the bot laners are both melee supports, and that generally is going to yield more activity in the bot side. You're tankier, so you can soak more damage, but at the same time, your positioning is easier to exploit here. So I'm sure it'll be much more active. And I'm just looking at 5Amigos composition right now. I actually like the drop that they've managed to get themselves here. And I really like that Sylas last pick specifically, because not only the Alistar out, Mordekaiser ult is huge, Varus ultimate is huge, Lee Sin ultimate is huge. Like, all of them are great to pick up here. And it just makes everything gel so much better. I like the composition. But Nightless Void, I think they fixed the problems they had last game. They have engaged, they have counter engage as well with that Mordekaiser. And I think they've got themselves some really powerful picks, the Varus, the Udyr, and I especially like the Mordekaiser to disrupt what 5Amigos have brought into the table. So I think if the game runs later and later, I do slightly favor 5Amigos, especially if they do run that crit Sivir versus lethality Sivir, which is, I think, the better thing anyways because of the sheer amount of tankiness. Then I think the scaling kind of favors 5Amigos ever so slightly, but it's close enough that I can't call a draft win, and that makes me happy as a color because then I get to see how it plays out. Execution becomes more important, and I can't just predict off draft.
Yeah, and that is an amazing point. So let's break it down a bit more, right? Let's have a little bit of fun. You just gave a lot of favor over to 5Amigos, rightly so, right? But you also have to look at it from Nightless Void, right? They picked this composition, now seeing the Sylas last. I want to get your thoughts, right? The Mordekaiser and Lee Sin, we do kind of see it set up as normally, right? Cuddle Snuffles will probably take that Mordekaiser top. Lee Sin mid is kind of the go-to, but if you want specific matchups, if you want your lanes to do well, I feel it's like on the Nightless Void side, do you feel like they lane swap this, or what do you think the matchup should be to give them the most favorable outcome in the solo lanes?
I think you leave the Mordekaiser versus Scion. I think that'd be more favorable than trying to force the Lee Sin Scion, because that's not necessarily a great matchup. Lee Sin will win that, but not super huge. And I think Lee Sin versus Sylas is a very skill-based matchup for the most part. Lee Sin in general makes most lanes kind of skill-based unless you've got point-and-click sort of CC available. So I think you're fine leaving it that way. Nightless Void have the advantage, I feel, a little bit in the top and mid lane, kind of similar to last game here. But I'm looking at the jungles specifically because last game, nothing happened because the jungles couldn't make action happen. This time, an Udyr is so much easier to pilot. As Captain Flower's coin, you run, you stun, you get the job done. You just run right in and right click. If you can't do that, you've got problems. And we've seen drops on this Udyr before. Drops is very good at Udyr. So I have very little worries about a very quiet early game. If anything, iCryptics on this Morgana, I've not been impressed with iCryptics throughout this entire series about the early game ganks. But the farming has been pretty solid. So I think giving him a farming jungler is going to be perfectly up his alley. I think for 5 Amigos, I'm more looking at the mid lane Bark Go Duck, because Bark Go Duck's been amazing throughout the series, and now on this Silas, which does have a pretty decent matchup into the Lee Sin and a ton of opportunities across all the other lanes. I want to see Bark Go Duck go roaming here and impact the other lanes. If you can get your bot lane rolling, that's going to be great for the team fights later on.
Yeah, and being able to allow your team to kind of scale up, that will be kind of the win condition for the side of 5 Amigos. We'll see if they can pull it off. Of course, we won't know until we get into games, so we will go to a very short commercial break to ensure that no problems come to this stream and we give you a quality broadcast. We will be right back with game number 3. And we are on to the red for the third and final time this evening. And for the first time this series, the teams will be swapped. You know, Nightless Void on that blue side with some interesting picks, to say the least. A little bit more diverse than previous games 1 and 2, but definitely putting a lot on the line here as your entire playoffs run may or may not end here.
This entire season, I'd say the odds are pretty big right now. Right? You make final 8, top 8, that's great that you made it this far, but none of the teams that are here are willing to just let it go right now. And I do love the fact that we actually did get a game 3 here, because it shows how close the teams are. Strike Down invading aggressively on their own. I think they spotted him out.
No, doesn't look like it. A ping went down, but Kettle Snuffles is just like the guardian. The lumberjack made his escape through the trees. That is what happened there.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, they get the ward as well, so they will be able to track where drops is starting. And it looks like in this game 3, for the first time this series, junglers will be starting on the same side of the map here. I don't know if you necessarily want to fight top lane, because I feel like a Morgana Scion isn't a ton of kill potential.
Not really. You can definitely try though. There is no harm in trying. Remember, everyone, you can always try whatever you want. Just you know, we might look down on you every so often. It's just, I mean, I'm also very, very interested to see for the first time what the junglers will actually do once they meet, right? Like, this is the most surefire way for both junglers to meet up. They are both full clearing as well. You can actually see them taking their second camps on that side. So this is pretty much the right path. And already we see bot side as well getting a little bit aggressive.
I think if you're iCryptix right now, you don't really want to ever meet drops at all in a 1v1. Sure, even if you land a Dark Binding, the problem is that he's got Turtle stance, he'll have Bear stance, he'll run you down. So if anything, I expect iCryptix to try and avoid drops at all costs. The ward's probably actually going to time out. It will time out before drops makes it to the top side, so they won't actually exactly know where drops is. And there's a pretty good chance that we might see iCryptix just surrender the top scuttle and look for a mid lane gank or look for the bot side scuttle instead.
And talking about that as Bart goes ahead and plays around, and we get to see the bottom lane. I do want to bring to your attention the fact that we do see the Hail of Blades Varus versus the I believe that is the attack speed Sivir coming out. How do you feel like this kind of shake things up?
Sorry, just watching as iCryptix took a stroll through the mid lane. But yeah, so basically the Hail of Blades should mean that Wake OG will win the short traits that they have in the bot lane here. But in the team fights, it looks like Stone Wolf is going to go for that crit build instead. And later on, when that Sivir is more online, the Lethal Tempo is going to do a lot more in the team fights if Wake cannot land the poke on multiple members, cannot chain of corruptions multiple people, and if he doesn't build a Runan's Hurricane. So depends partially on their build, but at least in lane, I want to see Wake OG and Toy take advantage of that a little bit, knowing that they should be able to win those trades.
It's only if they have a good read. Of course, Toy was the recipient of the earlier damage, as we do see mid lane Sir Zepri and Drop say hello, but this is going to be Cryptix having some fun. They're going to flash over the wall and try to go, but the chains miss. Drops is going to go ahead and flash his way out to safety. That could have been the kill, but Bark misses a crucial skill.
That chain lash, if it lands, they die, but they don't. Drop getting away with murder here. And you know what? I respect that iCryptix did set up that gank, and they can continue to look to play around this mid lane. The jungle mid synergy, we talked about it for 5 Amigos. We haven't seen it too much here, but if ever there was a game for it, it's this one where Silas is your strong point.
Yeah, of course, we talked about how much Silas brings to the table, right? Once it hits level 6, hoping to roam around, hope to grab that Toy ultimate, or hope to just do something, right? These early games have been so quiet, and now you have these compositions that can excel at snowballing so quickly. If we don't see it, I feel like it's going to be kind of just dead weight at that point. And we do have the Inferno. As the binding actually landed on Sir Zepri. That is going to call in drops as they're going to try and help out their mid lane. No mana on Bark. So that means that the mid lane engage is not going to go their way.
Yeah, and that's why you could see iCryptix shoving the wave with Bark Goduck there. They want to back. Dragon's coming up right now. TP available for both mid laners. So Bark wanted to shove that by teleport to lane to get ready for Sid Dragon. It doesn't get to happen exactly, but it does mean that Sir Zepri surrenders tempo here. If Sir Zepri goes back to base, 5 Amigos get a free dragon.
Yep. And that dragon, of course, is the Infernal. Once again, these Infernals playing crucial roles in the games thus far. You're going to see it taken down ever so slowly. Of course, this is not the fastest dragon taking squad, but with Bark there, they should be able to secure it again. First Drake. I think that's 2 out of 3 games that they've been able to secure the first dragon.
Yeah, I can't quite recall who got it in game 1 here, but yeah, 5 Amigos, they're kind of winning out, and Flame Infernal Drake is always nice as well. Gives you the added damage, especially for that poke-heavy bot lane right now, where Sivir and Varus should be trading a lot. Wake has not actually been able to trade too much, and the other problem too for the Varus is before you pick up the tier, you can't spam your spells quite as much as you'd like. Top side should be
strike down, eating a lot of damage, and that was a very close fight. Cuddle Snuffles forcing that out. Neither of them burned flash though, which is very, very impressive for how low they got.
Yeah, both of them kind of knowing where they're at there. But that's 3 turret shots that Cuddles didn't need to take whatsoever here. Strike down is gonna go back to base, has to TP back in to soak that wave. Cuddles probably doesn't have to TP to catch the wave later on.
Going to. As Drops goes ahead, steals away a quick camp, and is going to recall for himself. You do see them controlling pretty much this top side, which is something that you do have to kind of be wary of if you're anyone on the side of 5 Amigos. It's Lee Sin, finally level 6. Same with Bark. Both of them really hoping to make something happen, as the CS differential is very much in Nightless Void's pocket.
Yeah, a little bit surprised actually that Sir Zipri is winning out that lane quite so heavily here. And I'd say with less jungle attention, because every time we've seen iCryptix trying something, it's always been in that mid lane here. So maybe Drops, if you look for a gank into the mid lane, you could potentially find a kill. iCryptix aggressively invading and stealing away buffs here from this bot side.
Oh, now Cryptix is going to go ahead and throw out a binding, misses, and that's going to call the teleport. Now it's a little bit dangerous. Try and follow through. Zipri is going to go ahead, jump forward, gets us on a kick off, dodges out Silver Dragon. A little bit of a fancy play there to keep his life and his flash.
I think that taunt was absolutely massive because it messed up Sir Zipri's buffer a little bit, and the Dragon's Rage went the wrong direction. Was trying to hop over and pull an insect. Didn't work out. That's TP blown, expended, and a bit of a TP mismatch. That was the advantage Sir Zipri got on Bark Godak, which they surrendered the Dragon for. So if you can't make use of that, then definitely not a worthwhile trade.
Worthwhile in the least, as the top lane wet noodle battle commences. First time we really get to see it in action, as a couple Snuffles actually not so much of a wet noodle, more like a hard one with a little bit of cement at the end. Goes ahead and wins out about 80% HP with strike down stuck near his towers now.
Yeah, and again, another very low kill start to the game, Orbital. But I would like to point out there's a huge difference between this game and last game. Last game, it was very quiet because the junglers weren't really focused on making action happen. Everybody kind of handshook, sets it in lane, and the action was mostly mistakes for the most part. This time, it's good, solid play from the teams. They're barely escaping. They're getting away mechanically here, and it's more just that they can't quite find anything. Silver Dragon almost getting collapsed on once again here, and again, they escaped just by the hair on their chinny chin chins.
Well, not just that. Bark was able to steal away the unstoppable will, or the unbreakable will, which means that this mid lane is now effectively controlled by Bark, right? Anytime that ultimate is up and available and has been hijacked, you do not win that fight if you are fighting against the Silas. He will be able to sustain much longer, should be able to dish out way more damage, and it's just the threat of that option is always there. So we wanted combat, and now the supports are also getting in on it. I love it. I love this game already.
Man, I think I prefer the new Mortal Kombat movie to that Supportal Combat short that we just watched happening there. Not really much. They're fighting over wards. I'll give them that. I mean, Dragon's coming up in a minute. Probably not necessary to fight over it, but the amount of vision focus actually we're seeing around that river there, that inspires me with hope, because that does mean that the teams are both focused on the second Drake, even though it's only a Mountain Drake here. I will expect to see a bit of a fight, at least a pick-off or something happen around there.
With the Dragon coming up, I know for a fact Strike Down will probably need to move a little bit earlier, as he does not have a teleport to play with. Cuddle Snuffles has so far dominated this top lane once again. That is going to force a little bit of a TP back. We'll see what he decides to pick. No. is going to be forced to say, so it looks like he's going to attempt to force it to be a 4v4 on the bot side.
Yeah, I mean, he's just trying to push that wave in a little bit more. Strikedown does have the unstoppable onslaught, so you can kind of charge in fairly quickly here, but it's not going to be as quick as that teleport, especially if you're coming from base here, whereas Cuddle Snuffles can always just look to teleport. He's going to eat more turret shots.
Oh, that's a lot of damage, but the shield was enough to kind of buffer that damage. I feel if the unstoppable onslaught went off, that would have been big, but that's a binding onto Drops, who gets taunted as well. The CC is there, but Drops flashes out. Now Sir Zephyr is caught in the wrong spot, has to dash away to a ward, and Drops crucially right before Dragon is down to about 30% HP.
No flash either. Had to use it to get away. So you can't flash over and look for the steal here. They're setting up, and Strikedown is only now going back to base. TP from
Oh, that is rough, as we're going to see a headbutt. Pulverize only land on one. Tanta's going to, draw him off, but Cuddle Snuffles should be able to zone him all off. This is going to be Nightless Void's Dragon to take. That's our well-played Cuddle Snuffles. Forces that out. So, Dragon apiece. Ocean Soul coming up. Oh my lord. First Infernal, now Ocean, man. This series is really enjoying it. Bot lane is going to eat that ultimate, but they're going to go ahead, follow through. Mordekaiser is going to go ahead and eat a lot of damage. Strikedown coming in to help out as well. This is a 3-on-2 that the rest of the team is coming up for. Don't know if they want it. Binding this, and now Strikedown is going to be left to die. Oh my gosh. 11 minutes, 45 seconds, first blood. Goes the way of Sir Zephyr.
And that was really well played. Kiting around constantly. Strikedown couldn't quite land anybody. Toys might be caught out here. Binding lands.
Yep, and that's going to be Unbreakable will use. It can't really stop if you're already a quarter HP. Flash in, Chain of Corruption whiffs. A narrow miss. Bark really trying to make some plays happen here.
The TP from Bark here to get back to mid so that they don't lose out more turret plates. They don't lose out more pressure, but really well played. And now ADCs. Oh, wait, don't do this.
Flashes. Wow. He tried and now is very low on mana. The rest of the team's coming in.
Oh no.
Silver's gonna help him out. Oh, that is so sad. Stone Wolf goes ahead and picks up Wake OG. That is gonna be a solid kill picked up top lane. It's gonna go ahead and see some action as we get a little bit of a glimpse around the board. That is actually Bark going down minimum health. Oh, the dash is out. You called it a skill matchup, RMC, and we are seeing it.
Sir Zephyr just narrowly missing out again. It feels like a little bit of unfamiliarity. That's the second time now where they've just miscalculated ever so slightly. And I just can't get what happened to Wake the bot lane out of my head right now. What's the past tense of waked here? Or is it waked, Orbital? Waked?
We would say woke, but I feel he was still asleep when he did that. I feel he was very much still asleep when he did that. He was dreaming of a kill, and then he actually woke up.
That super rough. And I got a question. Is it really worth flashing out? You saw the whole minion wave trooping down. You see Stone Wolf there. So you know that if you get the kill on Silver Dragon, you're still probably going to die on the way out there. I've just got huge question marks about that. Two fat tanks going at it topside once again. And Cuddle Snuffles might be winning out the lane in terms of CS, but I've got to say that Strikedown's been doing a great job in terms of soaking that pressure so far. Hasn't died in that one-on-one so far.
I think he only died in the mid lane, and I mean that is negligible at best, right? You're not too worried about that. He's been able to hold the lane and only contain it to a 1 plate loss.
Okay.
I think that is honestly fantastic, right? In that situation, last time when he was playing up against the Nard twice, I think it was 2. He would lose 2 pretty consistently across the board, and this time only 1. So mitigating that gold difference down, and it's only 1.5k difference here in favor of Nightless Void.
Well, I mean, the Riftmaker just got picked up by Cuddles, and that's really when things start to get real tough for the Scion there. When the true damage starts coming through, when the Omnibat means that Cuddles should be able to win all the trades. I love how Stone Wolf and Silver have just been kind of shoving in Wake and Toy the entire game now, and starting to show in the CS a little bit, though it is being answered in the mid lane by Zephyr winning out against Bark by Cryptics.
Oh, they're going to go over the wall now, and they do find Toy. He does get bound up, immediately pops the unbreakable wall. They're going to try and dive this. Oh, they're Side in the back. He eats the chains as well. This is going to be Varus under the tower getting taunted up, and they're going to try and follow up. Lee Sin not going to be able to do too much. May get 1 kill back, yes, but the 2-kill death is all they wanted. They will take first tower in response as well. 5 Amigos strike with a furious battle on the bot side.
And it was real close there because that roam down from strike down did cost their top lane turrets, but they do get first break. So this barest of edges here going the way of 5 Amigos. They are still down gold though. The laning, unfortunately, has not been in their favor for the most part. The CS still favoring Nightless Void across the board, and especially in the jungle, because Udyr can power farm as well. And, you know, we talked about Drop's not doing too well on Morgana. No, it's iCryptic's not farming too well on this Morgana.
1-0-2 so far for the Morgana. Has Zanya's outright. Did go for the Dark Harvest instead of the Predators, so a little bit more focus on just raw damage output instead of trying to catch someone out. Not sure how I feel about that, but so far it is working out. Dragon coming up in 20 seconds. Everyone is going to start crowding the spot side. Remember, Strike Down has to walk around both top laners. We'll actually have to walk down, and no ultimate on this island means no real engage is going to be an opportune. But my gosh, this bot side is lit up like a Christmas tree for the Amigos.
Yeah, they just got in there. But the question is, can they hold that vision? Cuddle Snuffle's TP is about to come off cooldown, so we'll be able to get that first Herald being dropped. That's the second Herald that the side of Nightless Void have managed to pick up. They get this start, and they've gotten control over Dragon.
Drops actually goes in and is going to start things off. Toya is going to try and go and get the knock up onto the Galio. Galio is going to go ahead, get ping-ponged around, and the statue has been dismantled.
Kadosh just got there first. Walk down all the way, too. That wasn't even a TP. That was just a straight walk down, and it should be...
Cryptic? Cryptic? Cryptic goes ahead, walks right in, gets his onions off, but I mean, what are 5 Amigos doing?
It's the drive-through, man. They're trying to give speedy service.
Oh. They give over 2. They will give Dragon advantage, and Nightless Void just got gifted a very, very nice gift.
Yeah, because they were starting to fall behind in terms of tempo while they were up in CS, but now they've broken down 2 outer turrets. The bot lane outer turret is no longer safe for Stone Wolf and Silver Dragon. It's been the 5 Amigos punishing this bot side, but they are the ones who have to be careful now. This cheese.
Oh, this cheese is rude. They're going to go ahead, try and collapse in. Double Taunt comes in, and that's going to be the self-force under the tower. They do get the collapse kill, and now 5 Amigos on the run. Sir Zepri is going to get away with just a minuscule bit of health. Flash of the wall. Stone Wolf wants to keep chasing, but isn't able to find it. Sir Zepri is going to get away with Daylight Robbery. 500 gold bounty and 4-0-1 for a scoreline.
Great TP from Bark as well to make sure that they seal off the escape routes. And sure, I was saying, you know, that bot side outer turret is a bit of a bait right now. It's not safe for 5 Amigos, but you can always turn that around. It's bait for both teams because you know that Nightless Void are going to want to be able to punish that turret there. And because you knew where they were going to be, they could set up a little bit better. And we're pretty much back to an even state. Nightless Void ahead in gold right now, but still struggling to find and pick their engages here. And it feels like it's been 5 Amigos who have been on the front foot.
Yeah, and I also feel this composition starts to wane. You know, you talked about the compositional advantage going over to 5 Amigos, and we're starting to see it, right? The lead that Cuddle Snuffles has kind of built up, we really haven't seen it take notice. Like, it hasn't really been cemented yet. Yes, he's gotten a single kill. Yes, he's gotten 2 assists, and he has a large CS lead. But has he really been able to utilize it? Has he found those crucial members and zoned them away from the rest of the team? Not really.
And what's scary to me as well is when I look across 5 Amigos here, Bark, Duck, and Stone Wolf are the primary carries in these fights. And right now, neither of them have died a single time. And Bark, Duck has been aggressively going in. Silas is a melee champion here. And if you can't find them in these fights, it's definitely going to be a problem. And you look across the Wake and Toy, they're a combined 0-5 and 6 right now. That's not what you want to see from one of your big carries.
At all. Now, just about 20 minutes, actually 19 and a half. We are taking a look, and it's 5-5, but 2 towers to 1. And of course, the CS has granted Nightless Void approximately 3.3k for themselves. A lot of that over on Sir Zepri. So, you know, really all eyes on him to see if he can cycle through, get the Sivir, get the Silas in a position, or maybe even the Morgana. A lot of question marks going up as Baron will be spawning in just 10 seconds.
I'm not sure either team can really burn down the Baron here, so we're still probably going to look at a Baron dance or potentially just focus on the Dragon, because I think that's the bigger thing here. It is that Ocean Drake, a potential Ocean Soul. and Nightless Void right now are up in terms of dragons. So I expect to see more attention paid there. They still have vision action remaining from their last dragon 3 minutes ago. And if we recall back to, I think it was game one, Five Amigos tried to set up for a dragon 2 minutes in advance. So if you can kind of cheese them here potentially, that's a viable thing. And that's an actual thing that Five Amigos might end up doing.
You know, the old Fnatic Dash Brush. It's always an option here. But of course, they have to clear out all the vision. You can see there's a lot of pink wards over on the bottom side of the map for Nightless Void. So they're kind of prepped for any upcoming dragons. But Wake OG is going to dodge out, is able to make away. And that's going to be the teleport being in. But Sir Zebri, teleport from the back. No headbutt pulverize. It misses. Crucially, that combo doesn't land, and Drops is going to go ahead. A little flash. Remember, no flash on Stonewolf, but the knockups are there. They get the combination down, and that is going to be Alistar eating up the brunt of the damage, and they are going to cut down the Galio. That's the only one that they get so far, but a huge chain of corruption lands, roots everyone else. That's going to be Bart trying to come in to help, but I don't think it's going to be enough. A little bit too little, too late. The damage has been done. Bart gets a kill on the back end, but what more can he get? Gets a trade. That's still an ace for 2 in favor of Nightless Void.
I don't know if they have enough damage to Baron at this point, actually. Strike Down and Barco Duck both have TP here, so I guess Dragon is the safer call here. They don't even have enough damage to take the mid lane turret, actually. Silver Dragon's already up.
That's actually a huge win I think you get. It looks like they'll at least get one. I don't know if Silver Dragon will be able to stall it out. He's going to go ahead, throw the Winds of War, and we'll let the tower fall, but again, crucially, keep eyes on this fact. Dragon coming up in 10 seconds. They're going to try and close it down quickly, but look at the teleports. Strike Down and Bark actually have the teleports available. If the side of Five Amigos are able to make their way in, it could be a contest.
Yeah, and again, that double TP is still available right now. Unstoppable Onslaught as well. I don't think they can stop the Dragon take, but they might be able to find some exit kills.
Oh, they're going to look for it. There is a pink ward in there, but now they're going to try and collapse in. It is taken. But a headbutt pulverize catches them again. Huge damage against Five Amigos. They are now sprinting for the hills. Wake OG simply snipes out the back. But Stonewolf, the boomerangs are doing so much work. The kick doesn't do that much. Cuddle Civils is going to go ahead and go down. Sir Zepri is going to get away with his life with the Gorge Drinker keeping himself alive. The shield, though, wears off as the follow-up damage goes through. A couple more boomerangs means a shutdown for Stone Wolf. And would you know it, Five Amigos come back and clap back with 4 kills of their own.
TP from Strike Down to mid lane. They're going for Baron, and now Five Amigos can do what Nightless Void could not. Their ADC is alive with that Kraken Slayer, with that Lord Dominix, and more importantly, no TPs are available for Nightless Void. They have to walk into this right now. They're going to try, and I'm not sure it's going to end well for them if they actually face check this.
I don't think so either. And I mean, for the side of Nightless Void, you can rest with the fact that you are at least able to put yourself at soul point. All of the next dragons will be hotly contested. They will have to be fought over very, very heavily. And that is something to think about. However, you lose Baron, you're most likely going to lose a tower or 2. The 3-1 tower scores should go down, and a lot of this freestanding gold should be flooding into the pockets of Five Amigos.
Yeah, and for the side of Nightless Void right now, yes, you did lose Baron. You've got this small opportunity where everybody's basing right now to shove out the lanes. I love what they're doing here. Zepri looking at that bot side, looking at that low health turret as well. Shove it out as far as you can, because every second you buy is going to be massive when you're just trying to time out that Baron.
Yeah, so by the time the Baron times out, I think it's going to be about 50 seconds left on the Dragon timer. So it's going to, be a very nice bounce around. However, the towers are still up, so you can see the pings going down. It looks like Five Amigos are trying to split between mid and top lane. However, I do have to be a little bit concerned, right? These teams are both starting, I feel, to show signs of fatigue. You start seeing a couple errors left and right? These picks, a little bit unconventional, usually don't happen. It seems they're kind of starting to crack here under the pressure.
Yeah, and for Nightless Void, they are on the back foot, largely because Wake right now is not even getting to play the game whatsoever. We've seen in almost every single fight, Wake just gets blown up very, very early, doesn't get to pump out the damage here.
Yeah, that's a tower dropping very, very low, and yeah, Nightless Void just have to concede. That was the Realm of Death actually stolen by Bark, so he is definitely ready to go and, try and do a lot as much as possible. He's building a Morello Namicon third, which it feels the appropriate response, right? Very obviously against the Mordekaiser and the Lee Sin, but he is still very squishy.
Yeah, it's just really difficult right now. The good thing for Nightless Void, they don't lose all the game off of this, and they are still up in gold. That was how big a gold lead they had before Baron went down, and they're also at Soul Point. So in about 2 minutes here, that fight is going to be crucial, even more so than this Baron, because Baron wears off. They've got another minute on that Baron, and then it's gone. Ocean Soul is forever.
Yeah, still though, this has been, no matter what, this has been the largest Baron play that I think we've seen thus far in this series, right? They went from 1 tower and behind about 4K to now 5 towers to 4 and up about 600 gold. That is a huge swing for themselves that now puts them on par with Nightless Void, right? Like this is an amazing step forward for the squad that has been down what feels like the entire game.
Yep. So, to be fair, the last fight was actually won by Nightless Void. Let's not forget that. 5 Amigos found kills on the exit after they kind of stared at Baron and then went for Dragon, stood around, shoved the wave. So, we don't actually know who's going to win an even fight. It was Nightless Void last time with their gold lead. This time without that gold lead, it's a much more even fight. And my eyes are on Sir Zipri and Wake for the side of Nightless Void.
Oh, they found Stonewolf, but a very nice unstoppable onslaught is going to stave that off. Now the teleport comes in, and Toy might be the recipient. The double taunt is going to kick things off. Remember, the fight is going on. Cryptix is not here yet, finally making it in, but the battle has elongated for so long that is going to be a kill, 1 for 1 so far, but Drops get the kill. Sivir is down. This is a fight that they wanted. A trade inside the realm of death means Cuddle Snuffles wins it, and just like that, Nightless Void claimed the ensuing fight. Even the Baron was up. They will take it 5 for 2 and barrel down the mid lane.
I'm sweating right now, bro. That was way closer than it looked. That was a 5v4. Nightless Void pulled the trigger immediately. The Shurelias are huge for both teams, and they got a beautiful fight to kick things off. Wake actually survived to the end of that fight as well, which to me is one of the indicators I'm using to judge how the fights go. If Wake lives to the end, Nightless Void should be able to win that.
Yeah, and it's and you see a little bit of an issue is that's actually been the consistent for the last, I want to say, 3 team fights that these teams have had, right? Consistently, one of the members of 5 Amigos is not with the rest of the Amigos, right? It's these 45 starts, and when you have that, Nightless Void have been so quick to react, I have to applaud them for that, right? Identifying that and pulling the trigger are 2 of the hardest things to do as a team, right? You always have to be scared. You always have to be worried about where your opponent is, and yet Nightless Void have been able to correctly do that time and time again to give themselves that advantage. Now they have earned themselves the Ocean Soul and 3 Ocean Dragons to boot. They will be nigh unkillable with only, it looks like, 3 people that have Grievous Wounds.
Yeah, and they did start building Grievous Wounds early on the side of 5 Amigos. I appreciate that. The problem is it going to be enough? The healing from Rift Maker was already huge. You know, the Gore Drinker for Sir Zipri and just drops with the turtle stance. Oh, absolutely massive. You throw an Ocean Soul on top of that, and I don't like the odds for 5 Amigos. If they don't 5 into catch here, I think they start losing some of these 5v5s.
I think we're already seeing it, and now we see the Baron coming up in 45 seconds. Sir Zipri has been a monster, I have to say. Level 15 right now, 7, 1, and 8. 241 CS to his name, 3.5 items deep, right? Black Cleaver with that Saris Gauge and the Gore Drinker. He does not die. He will not die at all, at least through the opening of each fight. So really have to have big questions. However, on the flip side, Stonewolf was able to pick up the Infinity Edge on top of the Lord Dominic. So these boomerangs will hurt a lot.
Yeah, and it's coming down to a lot. Can you find Stonewolf?
Oh, no. Well, Wake goes ahead and flashes away. They're going to try and chase, and they use quite a bit, but they don't follow up. Bark is going to go ahead and get dropped into the zone. That's a huge kill. Toy is down already. Bark is going to try and get his way back out, and they follow. Stonewolf, is he going to die? No, he doesn't. Crucially, the ADC is alive. That's so far 2 for 0, but the Winds of War, no, the Mallet actually takes down Bark. That is now the mid laners dead. Are they going to keep trading? Strike is actually going to go back in. Why are you trying to chase this? They're not going to chase him down. They're going to try and get some health bars to go. But that was an even fight. 2 for 2, but crucially top down on the side of 5 Amigos.
Orbital, did Wake survive?
Yes.
Nightless Void won that fight. I mean, it actually is kind of true, though. You can see that they're the ones on the front foot. They can continue chasing down. Stonewolf was so low. They had to back out, and now, Cryptics, I don't
Oh.
think you get out of this.
No, he does not. The Binding Wisp and Cryptics, you are on the wrong side of the map. Chain of Corruptions actually goes wide, but I mean, I think they're willing to burn that. Never mind. Just chasing as far as the eye can see. Cuddle Stumbles just takes a mallet to Morgana's head and says, the fight's over. We're done.
For 5 Amigos, yes, you stalled out the Baron. You peeled them off, but at the expense of your jungler, 42-second death timer for iCryptics. Not worth. Nightless Void just needs to reset for this Baron, and then what is 5 Amigos going to do? You face check this, you're down a man. You aren't going to win this fight, and if you don't face check it, that's a free Baron for Nightless Void.
It's going to be the stolen Unbreakable Will. It's still only a level 2 ultimate, though. Baron down to about 9k health. Nightless Void really trying for this movement. Are they going to fight or are they not? You can see the Unstoppable Force onslaught going all the way in. Who's it going to hit? It's going to hit Toy. He's going to try and body block as much as he can. And again, he goes down very, very quickly. But the ensuing fight is what you want. Health bars bleeding across the board. And Lee Sin, Sir Zephyr comes out in a massive advantage for his team. Flashes in to try and get to the back line. And the piercing arrow forces them away. That's only going to be Stonewolf alive. Crucially, the Baron was stopped. But again, Voidless Knight win the fight. Nightless Void, very sorry. Gosh dang.
Okay, iCryptics coming in here. The Blast Cone is available. Flash about to come up as well here. It's the final try.
It is the final try, and I don't think there is even going to be an attempt. Cryptics realizes that he is much more helpful if he is alive instead of dead. Sir Zephyr is going to dance back. Binding lands on a minion. If that binding had landed, I feel Sir Zephyr might have lost his life. But it'll be okay for now. Baron on 4 as Toy was dead. Still, though, massive advantage coming in for the side of Nightless Void.
Yeah, and that fight, I think, kind of was the tipping point here, Orbital. 5 Amigos are firmly on the back foot. I know I said that, okay, the Sivir scales really well, the Silas scales really well, but they're just not against an Ocean Drake, not against an Ocean Soul, pardon me here. Now, with Baron in their back pocket, the last time 5 Amigos tried to push with Baron, there were so many turrets that it took them so long, they could not crack the base. For Nightless Void, there aren't that many. It's just the inner and top and bot and mid lane's an inhibitor turret here that they can try and push into.
And look how scared they are playing. 5 Amigos have no entry point as long as all 5 of Nightless Void are together. Waco G actually was about to take that blast cone, I think, and got left kind of out to dry. These piercing arrows, though, are starting to do a lot of work. You can already see the Cyrilda's Grudge, if I pronounce that correctly, built. So multiple 3-core items as Drops actually gets caught on the wrong side, but that's the fight that they might want. Sivir not in the scuffle just yet. Everyone backing out on 5 Amigos side, but that is going to be Nightless Void trying to cut them down. The battle has ensued, and the battle seems to be won. Once again, Nightless Void coming out with the large-scale victories. Cuddle Stuffles even diving under the tower to finish off this ADC. Look at that giant mallet. The mallet of victory goes golden, and they will signal the win for their squad. A clean ace this time. No member falls. Nightless Void will take the battle, and most likely this game number 3.
Oh my goodness, here that was painful to watch. And Orbital, did you say that Drops got caught? Because I think he won that game. A tag there, wrapping around the back. This should be game. Cryptics can't hold against a Baron buff. Unfortunately, it cuts so much AP damage.
Oh, big kick goes out, and the piercing arrow just barely nicks Cryptics on the back, but it doesn't matter. It is game right now. That is GG's all over as Nightless Void clean up 1 extra kill just to pad the stats, and Nightless Void will take down the number 1 seed and move on to the semifinals.
Oh boy, that was not a clean game Orbital from either of these teams, but nevertheless, huge props to Nightless Void and huge prop to Wake specifically, who I think we were checking at one point and he was like 2 and 5 and just dying every single engage.
Wake, he was 0 and 5 at one point. He had nothing to his name.
Yeah, and since then, I mean, Wake survived all the fights, ended up 3-6 and 19 here. And I was really honestly using Wake as an indicator of who won those fights, because the fact that Wake was alive meant that 5 Amigos wasn't actually able to punch down the backline, reach round, and finish off everything. And Nightless Void, I mean, they told me before coming to this game, if they beat 5 Amigos, they think they can take it all. This game, probably not the best indicator of that. But you know what? I kind of have faith. Their mental resilience definitely there.
Yeah, and I mean, you were talking about how it didn't feel like it was a clean game, and I grant that, right? Because of the bot lane, Wake OG and Toy combined 313 in their KD. But you take a
Mhm.
look, if you just cut off that bottom side, right, and you take a look at Sir ZP drops and Cuddle Snuffles, it would not look like that at all. Cuddle Snuffles immensely in this game, 10-1 and 14 on a Mordekaiser, right? Drops 5-0 and 15. Deathless here. Sir ZP 9-2 and 14 to end it on a double kill in a very, very explosive fight at the end. Like, it's crazy to me, at least, to kind of see that play out right there. And I mean, even all through all three games, I had to give it a huge shout out because Cuddle Snuffles, right? We talked about,
Mhm.
is he going to be able to fit in this team? How's it going to work? Because he didn't play in the round of 16. Yet all three games he dominated over Strike Down, and I think he is going to be someone to really watch for the rest of this for the rest of the playoffs.
Yeah, no, for sure here. And I would give MVP to Cuddle Snuffles. I think he
Mhm.
performed consistently every single game. Not to say Sergipe and Drops didn't, or well, yeah, I was gonna say Wake and Toy, but let's be honest, Wake and Toy were kind of hit or miss there. I did come back though, mental resilience, definitely a thing. But Cuddle Snuffles, I think, performed the best out of all the players there. So definitely got my MVP vote. And I'm sad for Five Amigos because I do think
Mhm.
that Barco Duck did amazingly throughout the series. Stone Wolf did really well as well. Just unfortunately, at the end, when it mattered, they fell a little bit behind, gave over too many dragons, and their playoff journey kind of ends here.
Yeah, the power of friendship does not prevail here, unfortunately, as that will be the end of their playoffs run. But we do have to congratulate Nightless Void for taking the victory 2-1 and move on into the semifinals. So, again, congratulations to them with Cuddle Snuffles as our MVP. With that, we will go ahead and close out our broadcast here for the Upsurge Minor League. So, thank you so much for tuning in. Again, my name is Orbital, joined with Random Minion Caster and First Night of Knee on production. Thank you so much for tuning in and have a fantastic evening.